Eileen, opening statement.
Township of Howell Zoning Board of Adjustment, Monday, September 15th, 2025. I hereby declare this meeting of the Howell Township Zoning Board to be open, adequate notice having been given pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act in the following manner. First, on January 2nd, 2025, a copy of said notice was emailed to the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger. Second, on January 2nd, 2025, a copy of said notice was hand-delivered to the clerk of the Township of Howell. Third, on January 2nd, 2025, said notice was posted in the office of the Zoning Board and on the bulletin board in the Howell Township Municipal Building, 4567 Route 9, Howell Township, New Jersey. In accordance with the Fire Prevention Code and for your safety, please be advised that this facility is designed with 2 emergency exits at the front and rear of the meeting room. Furthermore, smoking is not permitted in the municipal building. Please take note that this meeting is being videotaped for possible future broadcasts on Howell Township TV 77. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Can we have a roll call?
Mr. Barillo.
Here.
Mr. Cantor.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Here.
Mr. Roscoe.
Here.
Mr. Ryan.
Present.
Ms. Scottson is excused tonight. Mr. Kabarakis.
Here.
And Chairman Mertens.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Could everybody rise with us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Andy, could you swear in the professionals?
You swear the testimony you'll give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
State your name.
Charles Cunliffe.
Jennifer Beam. Terry Spiro.
The professionals are sworn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Eileen, any minutes to approve?
No minutes to approve tonight.
Okay, correspondence?
I have one thing for correspondence. Case number BA 2503, the Hannah Group, ABL LLC, has requested to be carried. The attorney for the applicant is here, Mr. Alfieri.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This was going to be third on the agenda, plus there's some cleanup items we have to handle, so we wouldn't have been ready to go forward tonight. Eileen gave us some dates, and it looks like November 10th works for our team, so if we can take jurisdiction and have it announced for that night, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, and the expiration date?
We'll grant you extension through the end of the year. Do you need a letter for that, Eileen?
Yes, tomorrow's
Okay, we'll
fine.
send a separate letter for that.
Okay, Sal, thank you. So anybody here for case number BA 25-03? This application's being carried till November 10th with further notice, and expiration will be at the end of the year.
We wanted with no further notice.
No, I'm sorry, no further notice.
Thank you.
Okay.
12:31.
Okay, that's it with correspondence?
That's all for
Okay,
tonight.
thank you. Applications before the board, resolution, case number BA 25-10, Michael and Lois Hammer. Resolution approving bulk variance relief. Eligible voters, Barillo, Cantor, Hughes, O'Donnell, Ryan, Scottson, and Mertens. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Barillo,
Second.
second by Mr. Hughes. Roll call.
Mr. Barillo.
Yes.
Mr. Cantor.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
And Chairman Mertens.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
Okay. Now, tonight, the first application is case number BA 24-05, Jessica Bassett. Extension of time, description, application of Jessica Bassett as applicant and owner seeking a extension of time, unapproved bulk variance relief by resolution of the board memorialized on September 9th, 2024. Pursuant to page 10 of the resolution approval, the variance approved by the board shall expire 1 year from the date of the resolution, September 5th, 2025. If construction has not commenced on an extension, is not granted by the board on the premise known as Block 29, Lot 6323, Laurel Place. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm the applicant for this application, and we are requesting a one-year extension of time until September of 2026. I have my engineer here with me this evening, and the short reason of it is the extension is because of the New Jersey DEP. We need to continue to coordinate with them to obtain the necessary approvals for this property. Unless anyone has any questions, I was going to turn this over to Zach Anderson, who will give you more information on the details where we stand with the state.
Okay, before we do that, is there anything, Jennifer, Charlie, you want to hear from the engineer before we?
Yeah, so this was an application for a development of a single-family dwelling on an undersized lot. It's located on, it's one of the lakes, and I'm drawing a blank right now, but, which one is it?
Louise.
Lake Louise, I apologize. Thank you for that, Mr. Gavarakis. And there's a flood hazard area potentially associated with that, and there's also potential for wetlands. I believe their applicant's going to provide some testimony that they filed their application for an LOI to determine whether the line of the wetlands and what the buffer and that, and then also give us an update on what the status of any pending
Okay, so
FHA
we'll
is.
hear the testimony.
Yep.
Before you speak, could you just give us your qualifications real quick?
Should I swear him in,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, yeah, and he has to be sworn in as well.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name for the record, spell your last.
My name is Zachary Anderson, Anderson.
Go ahead.
I'm a newly licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey, license number 6253600. I received my degree in civil engineering from King's College in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I had 4+ years of experience in municipal engineering and design.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified. Thank you.
Thank you. We are here tonight regarding a previously conditionally approved single-family home variance application for 23 Laurel Place in Howell, New Jersey, zoning board application BA 24-05. The applicant is requesting a one-year extension of time. We applied to the state for a letter of interpretation in November of last year, shortly after receiving approval from the zoning board. In August of this year, we finally heard back that our wetland limit was accepted. However, the threatened and endangered species review was still ongoing. We're hoping to have our letter of interpretation within the next 60 days, at which point we can apply for our land use permits from the state. As I'm sure everyone is familiar, the state works at their own speed. We are confident that with a one-year extension, we'll be able to obtain the state's approval and perfect the variance approval.
Charlie, Jennifer?
Yeah, so that's the LOI, and I can attest that, having done capital projects for municipalities with the DEP, they are not as timely as they were prior to COVID, so things are taking longer. So that's the wetlands. How about the flood hazard area?
We have not submitted for the flood hazard area permit yet.
Okay, I just want to be clear, because those are two separate things, right? The LOI, that just verifies the wetland, so, I just would implore the applicant to submit those as soon as possible. We don't want to see you here another year from now asking for another extension of time, just because, we're pretty busy and we just want to keep people moving and keep things, getting built, so. As long as they keep making progress, I have no exception to the granting till 2026. It was a pretty straightforward application, and I don't think there was any objectors or concerned residents for that application.
Okay, Jennifer? Okay. Board members? Andy, we still got to go to the public for, I didn't think.
No
I didn't.
public. No public,
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
just discussion.
I'd like to make a motion that we grant the requested extension of time, given the concerns expressed by our engineer.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hughes. Roll call?
Mr. Barillo?
Yes.
Mr. Cantor?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
And Chairman Mertens?
Yes.
Extension
luck.
approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, the next application before the board is case number BA 21-18X, Mohammed Quayam, for an extension of time Description, application to Muhammad Koyan as applicant and owner seeking an extension of time on approved bulk variance relief by resolution of the board memorialized on April 12, 2023. The variance approved by the board shall expire 1 year from the date of the resolution, April 12, 2023. If construction has not commenced on an extension is not granted by the board on premise known as Block 152, Lot 31, 709, Adelphia, Farmingdale Road. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Salvatore Alfieri on behalf of the applicant. This was a variance to demolish a fire-damaged home near Our House Tavern and replace it with a new home. It was approved in 2022 due to various delays, one being we obtained the DEP permit in April of 2024. We obtained also a letter from the county that they have no interest in the application, so we have no issue with them. We made a resolution compliance submission in March of this year. Charlie did a review in April of this year, pointing out that we needed to get this extension. We've then applied for the extension, and then our engineer made a new submission to address Charlie's last letter in July of 2025. I'm not sure if Charlie had a chance to review it because we wanted to get the extension. So we've asked for a 6-month extension just to get the paperwork finalized, and then we could demo the house and pull permits.
Okay. Charlie?
A little bit different than the last one, but similar. There was some wetlands concerned on the rear of the property, so they did have to go to have an environmental professional investigate those and then also get a permit from DEP to reconstruct the home. They have submitted that permit, and then I think we wanted just a little bit more information from their environmental professional and some tweaks to the plans. Mr. Alfieri is correct, they did resubmit. We just been holding our letter until the outcome of this, but it should be a letter of compliance shortly forthcoming from my office.
Okay.
Sal, can you just set forth the date for the record? So, because I'm looking at Charlie's letter, it talks about expiring April of 2023.
Yeah, the resolution was dated April 25th, 2022, so 1 year would be April 2023.
Okay.
Right, and the DEP, you need the other dates too, or?
No.
Yeah.
So you're just looking for
So
an
the-
extent?
So the variance expired?
Yeah, well, subject to an extension, yes. So, but yes, it would be a retro extension. It would be a retroactive extension for 6 months from today, would be more than enough time.
Okay.
Okay.
That works for me. I just noticed the 2023 date, so wanted to make sure we were operating with the correct dates.
Yeah, they're very close on my end to getting letter compliance, and then 6 months gives them, I think, more than enough time to do what they need to do at the township level for a plot plan or whatever kind of permits.
Okay, so 6 months.
From today
Yeah,
is fine.
okay. Anybody else, professionals, board members? Can I have a motion for the extension of time?
I'd like to make a motion to approve a 6-month extension from today.
Motion by Mr. O'Donnell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Barillo?
Yes.
Mr. Cantor?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Chairman
Oh,
Mertens?
sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
That's okay, Sal. Okay. 2 down, 2 to go. Okay, next up will be case number BA 21-25A, Carlos Ortiz Castaneda, use variance and amended preliminary final major site plan. Applicant of Carlos Ortiz Castaneda seeking use variance and amended preliminary and final major site plan approved to construct 1 common site driveway for the residential use and commercial landscaping use on the property, whereas the property approved proposed 2 separate driveways for the residential and commercial uses on the premise known as Block 170, Lot 10, 901 U.S. Highway 33. Expiration date is November 11th, 2025.
Good evening again, Salvatore Alfieri on behalf of the applicant. As the chairman indicated, this approval was granted in July of 2023. we never made a full resubmission to the town for resolution compliance because we had to work with the NJDOT to try and get the 2 driveway curb cuts approved. It took some time to get to the point where we could not get them approved. So we had to file an application for an amended use variance site plan to consolidate it into 1 driveway. We have Rob Sibb, who was our civil engineer at the time of the original approval and has worked on the project since then to testify. We have Scott Kennel, our traffic expert, just to explain the process of what we've done. And then we have our planner back, Christine Cafone. Since it's an amended application, we have to put our planning proofs back on the record. And if it's okay with everyone, we're going to request that Mr. Sibb get sworn in.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you want everyone, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman?
let's get everybody sworn in like we normally do. Do it all, get it over with.
You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
State your names for the record, starting with Mr. Siv.
Robert Siv, S-I-V as in Victor E, professional engineer.
Christine.
Christine Cafone, professional planner.
Scott Kennel, K-E-N-N-E-L, done and right.
Ready to proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Savick, could you just put your, I know I've seen you many times, but
Licensed professional engineer, professional planner in the state of New Jersey, testifying tonight as a professional engineer. I have over 30-plus years' experience in the engineering field, graduate of New Jersey Institute of Technology, testified before this board as well.
many times, and I'm almost can memorize your, anyway, we accept your
Thank you.
credentials.
Thank you, sir.
And we submitted a colored site plan rendering that we'd like to put up on the screen so we could show the board.
We have copies.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're going old school.
Okay, fine. Okay, no problem. So, Rob, you heard my summary. Can you run through for the board what changes have been made since the original approval, please?
so the only change that we've made to the site plan as it relates to the general aspects of the site plan approval is we're proposing to eliminate the existing residential driveway, which is in the southeasterly corner of the property, and we're proposing a gravel 12-foot wide driveway across the front of the front of the property between the proposed building and the proposed septic field. As Mr. Alfieri has indicated, we've been back and forth with the DOT many a times. We finally got a letter from them on December 17th of last year, 2024, indicating that they're not going to approve the 2 driveways on 1 lot. They're asking us to combine the driveways into 1 driveway, which we're proposing to do. Not to complicate matters, but just as a point of knowledge, they did offer to issue us a permit for the 2nd driveway if we were willing to subdivide out the house and create a subdivision around the house. I don't think that's the best solution for this particular property. Agreed. So we're proposing the combined driveway out to Route 33, which is 30-foot wide. There's very little traffic associated with the proposed landscape business as part of that resolution of approval back in 2023. The hours of operation are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There's 1 anticipated office employee, and they anticipate about 6 vehicles associated with the employees in the morning, maybe a couple vehicles in the afternoon to come and pick up supplies, and then at the end of the day when the crews come back in. So it's not a high-volume landscape business. It's not open to the public. It's not open for retail. It's really just his place of home-based business. Similarly with the residential use, we're not anticipating a large traffic demand for the house. Mr. Ken will get into that a little bit more, but that's the gist of the application, is really eliminating the existing driveway for the residents and then rotating it 90 degrees and connecting it to the proposed driveway for the landscape business.
So, Rob, the area where the old driveway was between the house and the adjacent property, how will that be landscaped?
So I've talked to Sherry. We're proposing to add additional landscaping and trees in that area. I'll coordinate with her and her office to do that, but that's what we're proposing to do. We'll grass it and then add some additional landscape trees.
And then other than that landscape change and the driveway reconfiguration, have there been any other revisions to the site plan?
No, we've gone back and forth with Charlie's office.
The answer's no, Rob.
Okay.
No.
No. No.
That's all we have with the engineer.
okay.
The only question I'm asking you is, I don't recall whether or not there was a restriction on the occupancy of that residential dwelling as an employee.
I don't believe there was.
not.
Is that something you're offering now?
If the board were to impose it, we would live with it.
Okay.
But we're not offering it, but we'll defer to the board. and you're professionals.
Yeah, let's hear from the, Jen,
I,
Charlie.
I mean, honestly, him saying that the DOT is not going to allow 2 driveways and we've figured a way to deal with it, does it work on a site plan? 100%. That's not really, from my perspective, I need to hear from the planner. I'm not really interested in the traffic engineer because the traffic coming from that house is like de minimis, but it's up to you guys, and I would defer to Charlie, because other than that, I just want to hear from the planner that the commingling of the traffic does not change the use variance that you guys gave and does not create a negative impact. That's what I'm waiting to hear.
Okay.
Yes, so the bulk of the comments in my letter were regarding the stormwater management. I apologize, I'm real hoarse tonight. I believe Mr. Siv had provided a number of correspondences from DOT as part of the review process. What was presented to us as part of the last hearing, some of the orifice elevations and things like that might have changed, so we were just asking if the board acts favorably that his office submit a revised stormwater management plan just to encapsulate all the things that were changed as part of the DOT review. They did provide a letter from the DOT which confirmed what he said, that they wouldn't allow 2 accesses on the same lot unless they subdivided, which would have created more undersized lots, so I take no exception to that. The real only concern that I have regarding the driveway connection from the residential to the commercial is it's a stone driveway that tends to creep. You got a septic system there. I think you got a connection from the house to that septic system, maybe a well. So maybe it being paved or there being some kind of landscape border or edger would probably be beneficial for the applicant so they don't run into some issues down the line. Is that something, Mr. Siv, the applicant would be amenable to?
Sure, I'm sure he'd either put some type of edging or pave it. That would not be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to add more impervious surface on a site. I think stone is fine, maybe like a landscape edge, either like vertical Belgian block or railroad ties, something like that, so it's keeping the stone and has a border. That would be acceptable in my office.
That's fine, that's fine. And we also did work out the architectural with Ms. Beam during the last iteration, so we would submit the same document and
Okay.
get through that.
You're good, Sherry, or is there anything? Okay, I didn't think so. Yeah, Matt.
I think it's, the answer to this is probably pretty obvious because you're right on 33, but do we have to take into account the fire department at all, now that the entrances are shuffled?
So usually the fire department's looking for something that's within a paved surface within 150 feet of a structure, which
Okay.
we have in this case, so I
So-
think we'd be good.
Route 33.
I'm not supportive of the gravel at all. It's already considered impervious. It should have been calculated into your drainage. Gravel is a train wreck. It doesn't get plowed correctly. It creates a problem. You're already calculated into your drainage and your impervious coverage. It should be paved. Period. End of discussion. There should be no gravel as a driveway to that residential structure. It should be paved because the gravel is going to create a problem. It doesn't get paved. It doesn't get, plowed correctly. It doesn't get, it's a problem. And we have that problem everywhere in town. If it's already calculated into their drainage and already calculated into their coverage, it should be paved. You want to come back here, ask us to grant you an amended approval, a new use variance, because you can't get the 2 driveways that were approved previously. I get that it's going to cost you money, but that's the way it goes. It needs to be paved.
If you're talking about the driveway to the house.
I'm talking about any surface that a car is driving over as part of this application. Period. End of discussion. Driveway in and out, driveway connection to the residential, and I am not supportive of gravel, period. It's already considered impervious. There's no benefit to us as a town to allow gravel. You want to come back here and get this approval? Pave it, period.
So just to clarify, right, the 30-foot driveway in and out of Route 33, that's on the west side of this exhibit, and then the whole balance at the back of the site, that was already proposed and approved as that's what we're just talking about, the 12-foot wide connection from the residence to that driveway. So, I mean, it's not a lot of asphalt for them to pave, and honestly, once you take out the edger,
We
it's...
have no issue with that.
Okay.
Okay.
What type of surface is that that's behind the existing dwelling there?
That's existing today? It's
Yeah.
gravel.
So that will remain gravel there.
It's a red gravel.
No, well, no longer,
Okay.
not after today.
So when you're talking about change, you want to change that as well, then? Everything you want to be
So
asphalt?
at the end of the day, the issue with gravel versus pavement is, for our perspective, zero. It gets calculated as impervious coverage, it gets calculated into their drainage requirements. Gravel is a disaster in terms of snow removal, it doesn't stay where it's supposed to stay.
Right.
They already have to comply with the, we're not asking them to pave things that were not considered impervious.
Okay.
Paving this, it needs to be,
Right.
it cleans the site up, it doesn't allow for creep, it's gravel, it's paved, period.
So now you're closing off the existing driveway, which it looks like is shaded in green here on this?
Correct.
This plan? What are we gonna, what's that gonna look like when it's done?
Planting of it.
Grass.
Grass, and then have some landscape trees in that
Okay.
area.
Okay, got it. So I could see it basically ends adjacent to the rear of the house.
Exactly.
Okay.
And where does the resident of the house park?
In that existing gravel area in the back.
Say gravel.
Yeah, don't say that to me, it's a no-no.
In that newly paved area?
Yeah, in the newly paved area.
But it's 12 feet wide. I mean, if you have two people living in the house, you know, you have a couple, I mean.
That's like a driveway. That's not.
Yeah, I know, but at the end of the driveway, they need a place to park, so.
There's a big area behind the house where they're parking,
Right.
a huge area.
Okay,
they're gonna come
okay,
in
but
here.
is this paved now?
That's going to be paved.
Okay,
It's
And-
not paved now, it will be paved.
okay.
No, it's not paved.
Because I always see it here as a proposed blue stone, that's why I wanted to make sure. Okay,
Yeah, the only difference is that we were paving everything except the residential portion. Now, per your professionals, they want that paved as well, that's no problem.
okay.
So the property currently has a combination of hedging, fencing, and a gate over the second driveway that's there right now. Is that going to be unified into one solid structure all the way through, or how are we cutting off the first driveway with the red gravel? Is that going to be bushes, fence, nothing? Because that's just going to enable people to drive through again.
You're talking about the residential driveway?
The current residential driveway that has the red
How are
stone.
we going to close that off?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to end up removing the existing depressed curb and driveway apron that's there today and put in a full-face curb. And then the
Okay.
stone will be removed, it'll be landscaped, and trees will be planted there.
It is going to be treated.
Yes.
And then further down where the gate is that has the tire tracks leading onto the property, which is a little east of where you're putting the new driveway
Yeah,
in.
that'll be removed, and
That'll be removed and continue the fencing or more planting?
we're proposing, you can see some plantings in that area, and then it'll be removed and landscaped with grass and other shrubs.
Okay, yeah,
And then we also have a fence around the stormwater management basin that'll go across that area.
understood. I just want some type of continuity of eye obstacle for people coming in off Okerson Road, that they don't see, oh, I can get in over here when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think once the construction is done, it'll be pretty clear where the entrance is for this site.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else from the board? Okay, I kind of go back to what our planner was saying, I don't, because this is just a house, do we really need to have a traffic engineer?
No, we have him here just to
Just,
answer
okay,
questions.
okay.
But we can call Christine, our planner, up.
Yeah,
And
that's-
Scott Kennel's here if questions come
Okay.
up afterwards, no problem. Thank you,
Thanks.
Rob.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, Christine Cafone, licensed professional planner, testified here, and hundreds of other municipal planning and zoning boards. Licenses are current and valid.
Sounds good to me, you're qualified. Thank you.
I also testified on the original application
Yes.
for this matter a few years ago. So I would tell the board that despite the fact that we now have one driveway, there's a couple of factors that inform my opinion that the site is still particularly suitable. This site is located in the HD4 zone where the minimum lot area is 40,000 square feet. The subject property is about 106,000 square feet. So it's more than double the underlying size. So it's certainly large enough to support the two uses. I would also tell you that you made a decision a few years ago to amend the HD4 to allow pre-existing non-conforming residential uses in the HD4 zone. And this is a pre-existing non-conforming residential use.
But Mr. Chair, I don't mean to cut her off.
Yeah.
Focus on the commingling of the traffic.
So it's a
I
little-
get it, we approved the use variance, and I don't disagree that the characteristics of the use variance remain the same. The difference is 2 driveways versus 1 driveway. Let's focus on that.
So the 2 driveways versus 1 driveway issue, there's 2 things to consider there. The first I talked to is the size of the lot, which is 2.5 times the underlying zone. The second is the low-intensity nature of this use and the fact that your ordinance directs us to have these uses, of these type of commercial uses on Route 33. So the combination of the size of the property and the low-intensity nature of the use, I would say, in my opinion, informs my decision that having 1 driveway is not going to have a substantial detriment to the zone plan, the public good, and that the site remains particularly suitable for these 2 uses.
Okay.
I don't take any exception to what the
Okay.
testimony has been
Okay.
presented.
Any questions from the board? Didn't think so either. Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to go to public.
Motion open to public?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ryan. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, Eileen.
The board will now open to public for questions or comments. Please come up and state your name and address.
Seeing none, do I have a motion to close?
I'll motion to close, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Hughes, motion?
Second motion.
Second by Mr. Ryan. All in favor?
So, Mr. Chair, just very brief
Yeah.
summary. Number one, we will comply with all the comments contained within your professional reports, which I didn't say earlier, but we have no issue. We reviewed both reports and have no issue addressing them. Number two is we'll comply with the various conditions that the board professionals have mentioned. The only thing we haven't finalized is whether there's going to be a limitation on who can occupy that house, which we're going to need the board's guidance on. But otherwise, we will address every comment that everyone has made as a condition of approval.
Okay. Okay, any further comments from the board before?
Yeah, actually, I do have a
yeah, go
question,
ahead.
and I probably should have asked it before. I'm just looking at the layout, and it seems like there's going to be like a little island there in the driveway, where,
Yeah, that was approved before.
okay, but is there where it's right turn only?
It's right in, right out.
Okay.
Yep, and that was, that was agreed to by the applicant because of, apologize. Because of the landscape vehicles and the trailers and the concerns with conflicts, so.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Question for either Jen or Charlie on the concern that
I'll
was...
answer it because he can't even talk.
Yeah, he can't, well, he can whisper to you. On the concern about the resident that lives there, is that not covered by the various ordinance of Howell Township as to who can live in that house?
No,
It's not?
but I don't have a problem with who lives in the house.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's a house on a lot that's going to have a business on it. You're not going to have, you know, a tremendous amount of people living there, but no.
Well, I
there's-
mean, if it's rented out and there's a various ordinances covering
I
all
get
that
it,
stuff.
and they'll have to comply with whatever our ordinances
That's what I
require.
meant, that's what I was asking.
100%.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
For the record, Mr. Alfieri, do you happen to know how many bedrooms are currently there?
3 bedroom.
3 bedrooms? Okay.
Okay. Okay, seeing no more comments, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, we've had our discussions here tonight, and we've made a few requests, which the applicant's going to comply with. So I'd like to make a recommendation to approve this application.
Motion by Mr. Hughes, so I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cantor. Roll call?
Mr. Barillo?
Yes.
Mr. Cantor?
Yes, provided they provide the stormwater management plan and they pave all of the driveways as designated.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mr. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
And Chairman Mertens?
Yes.
Thank you.
Application approved.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm good if you're good.
If everybody is good, we're going to start the next and last case. Okay. Okay, case number BA 24-20, Julie Rich LLC. Type use variance, both variance and preliminary and final site plan. Description, application of Julie Rich LLC as applicant and owner seeking use variance, bulk variance, and preliminary and final site plan approval for the demolition of an existing bank and construction of a 5,670 square foot, one-story convenience center and fueling station with other site improvements on premise known as Block 141, Lot 1, 646 US Route 9. This application was previously heard on May 19th, 2025. Expiration date is September 30th, 2025. Eligible voters: Barillo, Cantor, Hughes, O'Donnell, Roscoe, Ryan, Scottson, Kavarakis, and Mertens. Welcome back, Sal.
Thank you again. Good evening, Mr. Chair. Salvatore Alfieri on behalf of the applicant. As you indicated, we were here in May 19th, and had our first hearing. At that time, we had our engineer testify. We had an operations person from Quick Check. We had the architect, and we started traffic. It was concluded at the end of that hearing that we did not need to bring the operations person back or the architect because we got through those issues, but there were some engineering and traffic concerns that we had to address. We made resubmissions in various components on July 3rd, July 14th, and September 5th. In the interim between that meeting and tonight, we've worked with the NJDOT to try and address some of the comments that were made by the board and the members of the public, of which we'll get to momentarily. We've received the report from your planner September 10th and your engineer September 15th, which that we're prepared to address tonight as well. And we're going to start with our engineer.
Okay, Andy, everybody's same,
We have,
yeah.
you want to swear them all in?
Sal,
Only new witness would be Christine.
I
She
think
may
I
have
was
been
here
sworn.
last time, though, and was sworn, but you can swear me in again.
Yeah, she was here.
Just to make sure.
Well, just for the record,
Yeah.
do
She was
you
here.
swear that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, state your names for the record.
Aaron Chan, last name spelled C-H-A-N, professional engineer.
Christine Cafone, professional planner.
John Korak, C-O-R-A-K, professional engineer.
Okay.
Thank you. And, Mr. Chairman, you were obviously qualified at the last meeting, so I'm going to ask you if you could bring the board up to date on the plan revisions that were made and what you've done since the last hearing to get to the point where we are tonight.
Sure, that sounds good. Thank you very much. As indicated, we were last in front of the board back in the middle of May. If I could cue up the aerial exhibit that I sent over a little bit earlier today.
Do you have hard copies of anything?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
If you can give us what number they are.
This, I believe, last marked was A21 at the last meeting, but we did send the PDF copies.
Is that it? Or do you want the aerial first?
That's fine, too. So as a quick refresher, this is that PNC site on the southbound side of Route 9. Perfect, thank you very much. Yeah, so that's the project site, southbound side Route 9. And then a lot of the topic of the conversation was the bus stop, how we cut across Route 9 back into the parking stop for NJ Transit. And just, again, as a brief refresher, so what we proposed is the 5,670 square foot Quick Check building with a convenience store and 8 fueling kiosks under the gas canopy. And there's previously a total of 68 parking spaces on site with 1 driveway along Route 9. And in the 2 Strickland driveways, there's the westerly driveway into Hatfield movement, and then the easterly driveway. At the time, we proposed all movements except for the left out being restricted. So if I may maybe pull up the September 5th site plan sheet.
Which one?
September 5th site plan sheet, please.
And we'll make sure that they...
Sure.
We're just going to swap out our engineer for a minute before this one has a nervous breakdown, so
He's going to come up. He's involved in all
he can't talk right now, so Sean, come. Give us a minute.
Sorry about that.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
somebody coming around that car.
Just the black and white or the color? The black.
Dying.
Great, thank you. Okay, so what's,
We should swear him. Yeah, we should swear him.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, we should
Yeah,
swear
yeah,
swear
yeah.
in Mr. Maiden.
Just raise your right hand.
Do you swear from testimony you will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your name for the record.
Sean Matting?
That would be board professional, Mr. Chairman.
So, the board members, you could see the exhibit that you're going to be referring to on that
Yeah.
far screen, if you need to pull it up in front of you.
yeah, perfect, thank you. So what this exhibit is the last submitted site plan from September 5th. And all you're seeing is pretty much exactly the same layout with some minor modifications on site based on the last discussion. And I'll just walk through them pretty briefly. It's the same building, same configuration as far as the gas canopy. What's changed on this plan is the parking spaces behind the Quick Check building. Previously, there was 10 standard-sized parking stalls. That has been amended to be 2 oversized parking spaces, 12 by 40 each. The driveway on the easterly side, on the easterly driveway on Strickland, has been modified to be right in, right out only. And then the signage, and then there's a series of signage updates that I'll speak to in the last exhibit, but the total number of parking spaces is now reduced down to 57 standard spaces with the 2 oversized stalls. I believe that still exceeds the calculated requirement. And if you don't mind, the last exhibit I have is the signage exhibit.
Where is the oversized parking on this plan?
In the plan is behind the building, behind the loading area.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, great. So, the last exhibit is the signage exhibit, I think up on the TV.
Well, I'm gonna go back to this question. Looking at this exhibit, explain to me which stalls are oversized. They all look pretty standard to me.
Sure, apologies. So the site plan sheet has been updated with the oversized parking spaces. This exhibit doesn't carry and reflect that change. Those oversized stalls are intended to be behind the loading spaces. It's a 10 behind the convenience store building.
So let's pull up the site plan. I get that it's right there, but it needs to be part of the record and it needs to be available to the public,
Yes, it's
so.
on here. Site plan revised 9/4/2025.
It is on this particular exhibit. It is the 2 oversized stalls behind the loading area and behind the building. So if you zoom in a little bit,
So the parallel stalls?
they are parallel to the 30-foot drive aisle. Okay.
So you want to go back to the signage exhibit? to
Yes,
finish
please.
that
I believe
one?
they're calling up the latest updated signage exhibit.
You want the sign?
Signage exhibit, yes, please. So this is the latest updated signage exhibit. I think you can more clearly see the oversized parking stalls that are parallel to the aisle in the rear of the building. I'll just walk through it very quickly. So previously we had a total of 10 signs. There's 2 monument signs at the Strickland driveways with 1 large pylon sign along the Route 9 frontage. There was a total of 7 wall signs. There was 2 texts that said Quick Check, 2 Quick Check logo. There was 2 signs on the canopy for the gas canopy, and then there was also 1 developer panel sign. The update since then, we completely removed the 2 monument signs at the Strickland driveway. That's been replaced with a small 3 square foot directional signage. We removed all signage on the gas canopy as well, and then we're left with a total of 7 signs. 1 set of Quick Check text and logo on the building facing the different frontages, Route 9 and Strickland. That accounts for 4 signs. There's left with one large pylon sign along Route 9 that's set back 20 feet, complying with the ordinance. And we also modified that LED to be white, and that matches the 7-Eleven across the intersection. That total is 130 square feet, so 120 square feet of it being the quick check, 10 square feet being the developer panel. And as I indicated previously, the Strickland driveway now has that small directional sign, 3 square feet, 3 feet tall. That's
So I'm going to stop you right there. Why are we putting a developer's panel on a sign that needs a variance? Not for nothing, I can appreciate that the site's being redeveloped, but like, I could care less by who. So, I don't know why you need their name on a sign that you need relief for. I can assure you that you don't. So, we're gonna put a pin in that, you're gonna talk to your client, but I am not supportive of that. At all.
Okay. Understood. So the directional signage that we proposed off of the Strickland driveway, so it's set back 10 feet from the property line. Again, they're very small in height and in square footage. So that's to indicate the two driveways along that roadway. And generally that covers the site plan updates. I think, what I wanted to leave a lot of time for is just to discuss the progress we've made with the NJDOT, some of the discussions that we had with them, their review letter comments, as well as the recent improvements at that particular intersection that I'll save for our traffic engineer to fully detail out.
Before you move on to any additional testimony, you've had a chance to review the reports that I referred to of September 15th P&M and September 10th from Leon Avakian's office. Is there any technical issues from an engineering point of view that you could not address as a condition of approval?
No particular issues. We'll work with their respective offices to address their comments.
And in terms of variance relief, we have reduced the number of variances associated with the signage. Have any other variances been either exacerbated or eliminated as a result of these changes?
Yeah, primarily as it relates to the signage. So again, there was the pylon setback from the right-of-way. There was the monuments being, monument signs along Strickland being removed. I believe that was the planner's comment 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then the gas price was now modified to a white LED, which was planner's comment number 10.
So why can't the setback be complied with?
Setback for the directional signage.
For all the signage?
The setback does comply for the large pylon signs, 20 feet off the property line. The 10 square feet off of Strickland is just really due to the size of them and the height of them. We felt that it was good to identify the driveway, closer to the curb line.
No. Comply. Guys, you're here for a use variance. The whole room is full of people that are not interested in this happening here. And it's because, what, you think what? People aren't going to know that it's quick check because, what, the 85 things that say green with a big Q on it isn't information enough? They're not idiots. They're going to be able to figure out how to get in and out. Those signs need to comply. Period, end of discussion. There should be 0 variances for sign setbacks. 0. So I would encourage you to put that on your list. Talk about it in the break, because I'm not supportive of that either. You're not getting a developer's name on a sign to give you more square footage. You're not getting increased or decreased setbacks to Strickland, because what, you think people don't understand where the entrance and the exit is? Guys, come on. Like, you need, wait, let me be very clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variances for signage. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
People are not that stupid. They can tell with the sign that says quick check gas, quick check here, quick check there. They're not dumb. They know how to get in and out of sight.
Quick check everywhere.
So I would strongly advise you to gather during the break and come back with a sign package that is more compliant than what you've done.
Okay, we heard you. We'll deal with it.
Okay?
Otherwise, you want to leave everything for our traffic engineer?
Yes.
Okay, so any other questions for our engineer you're prepared to answer? And then we're going to do traffic up, it's going to be pretty extensive.
So we do have some stuff for the traffic engineer, but just one thing for Aaron. I guess you said you had a chance to read our latest review letter.
Yes.
Do you have any issue with addressing any of the stormwater comments that are outstanding in that?
No, no particular issues. It is quite detailed, so we'll go through it, once we have the full opportunity to go through it, we'll provide an updated design for your office to review.
So are you bifurcating in the application?
No.
Okay, so you want preliminary and final site plan, but you don't want to comply or discuss the drainage?
We'll discuss it. We said we'll comply.
No, he said they'll discuss it. That's not what he said.
We can comply with the comments within the letter.
Okay.
We have nothing else.
Okay, board members?
Just a question for Jen. Ms. Beam,
Yeah?
for the small signs that they've proposed that you're saying are not in compliance on Strickland Road, what would be in compliance?
They have to set it back farther,
How far, that's what I'm asking, how far?
another 10 feet.
20 feet.
20 feet from
Yeah.
Strickland Road?
Yeah,
Okay.
which I don't think is going to change anyone's disposition on whether they're going to enter or exit the site, quite frankly. I
Well,
mean, if
everybody
you're
else
on
does
Strickland
that.
Road, you know you're going there or you're not going there.
Everybody else in town does that.
Agreed. So they should comply.
Yeah, Mr. Ryan?
Mr. Chen, the location of the air pumps and vacuum, is that the safest location it could be placed at? Because you're right where cars are coming off Route 9, and if people are milling around, they might be exposed.
Yeah, there was a discussion about the placement of those equipment. If we were to put it on the bottom right-hand corner, that would be technically within the Strickland front yard as well, which I believe we'll need variance relief for. We can move it a little bit plan left, just so it's a little bit inward, into the site, and avoid that possibility.
I think it needs to be more into the site, because I'd rather see you have to get a variance with it inside, rather than expose people to danger with cars coming off the highway.
Yeah, we can move it in more interior without any variance relief, correct?
Correct.
So we could do that.
Okay.
Where,
Where would you put it? In the middle somewhere?
Probably move it over another 2 stalls.
and you'll have bollards on both sides, then, not just the one side?
Yeah, bollards protecting the equipment, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Mike. Thanks for bringing that up. I don't like it where it was either. I'd rather grant you the variance and have it safer than go with what you have here. Anybody else?
Yeah, I was wondering if someone could just quickly review with us what each variance is now that we're talking about the signs and all that.
It's going to come up later.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify, all the lighting's going to be downward facing. There's not going to be any glow, shield, back to residential, everything like that?
Yes, correct. The lights will be shielded and downward lit.
Thank you.
Oh, I do have a question.
Yeah.
That Charlie brought up at the last meeting. 3,000 Kelvin, is that what we're going with? Charlie? You brought up last time 3,000 Kelvin?
Yep.
And is that agreeable?
I believe we agreed to the 3,000 Kelvin last time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chen, last time we talked about, I think there were 2 EV charging spots.
That's right.
Were those moved?
Yes, with the accommodation for the oversized parking spaces, the EV stalls were moved. I think they're in the bottom left-hand corner of those 2 hatch spaces. It will be the EV stalls.
They're shaded in the lower left-hand corner.
So, next to the basin?
Near the Strickland entrance?
Yes,
Yeah,
right off of the Strickland entrance on the bottom left-hand corner. I think it's probably a good 75, 60 feet from the basin, but it's not adjacent to it, no.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
And we talked about making those at least level 2, right?
Yep, we did.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
before we move on, Sherry, I believe it would be under the engineer's testimony about the buffer, because I think I'd like to hear a little more about what we're doing back there with the buffer between, because I think that was one of the concerns of the residents.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Sure. Yeah, previously, I think the testimony was that we're mounding up the rear portion and the side portion of the property adjacent to the residential developments, and then we have a 5-foot berm, as I indicated before, and we're planting all along that particular berm and to provide buffering from the proposed use to the adjacent residential. I think the previous testimony, let me get back to my notes here, had, I believe, over 100 trees proposed on this site, and with 250 shrubs and a ton of ground cover, totaling a very, very large amount of plants across the entire property, with the heavy concentration along the rear residential buffer.
And how far is the basin setback from the side side yard, I guess, and the rear yard?
Yeah, the basin is set back 50 feet from that rear yard shared with the cul-de-sac residences.
And then in that 50 feet is the buffer area that's going to be bermed and planted?
That's correct, yes.
Just to clarify, it's a 6-foot berm, which is what your plan says. I
All
just
right.
wanted to have that correct on the
Thank
you. And one of the questions in the T&M report is there going to be a fence around the basin?
There's a split rail fence around the basin, and we'll make sure all of the proposed basins have that same 4-foot split rail fence.
Okay, I'm looking at the evergreens, the pines, 5 to 6 feet. We can't do a little better than that?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
so when we were on site, the existing evergreens that you see here bubbled on the plan, they're actually, already blocking the view, but since they're white pines, so as you know, once they get larger, they're going to lose that lower buffer. So that's why we did make sure to have
Okay.
trees in front of it. So there is a nice buffer, a single row, but so these smaller trees will have time to get larger before we lose the lower buffer of the pines.
Okay, so increasing the size, I understand down the road, it's better to leave more space for them to mature. But there is sufficient, you think, screening right now, in your opinion?
Right, I mean, they're adding a lot to it, but currently, yes, the white pines provide a nice green wall, which then this will add to it.
And the height of the berm, about?
It's 6 feet,
Okay, 6 feet.
yeah.
Okay.
They did comply with that.
They can. You need. Okay, anything else for the engineer? Seeing none, I guess Sal,
We're going to call our traffic engineer.
does anybody need to take a break? Yeah. After traffic, okay.
Thanks, don't go far.
Take a 5-minute break now.
And again, just, John, introduce yourself, please.
Sal, real quick, some of the board members would like to take a break, so we're going to break 5-10 minutes, Eileen?
The board will now take a break for 10 minutes and reconvene at 8:13 p.m. The meeting will now reconvene.
So, Mr. Chair, during the break, I spoke to my client, and we will address both of Jennifer's comments relating to the signage. We'll remove the developer labeled panel on the freestanding sign, and we'll bring the smaller signs into conformity with the setback.
Okay, thank you.
John, is that the exhibit you need?
Yes.
To refer to? Okay. So, you've done some work since the May meeting to deal with the DOT and some issues that were raised. Can you summarize for the board what you've done since the last meeting in May?
Of course. So since the last meeting in May, we've had additional correspondence with the DOT. We did finally receive their first formal comment letter. That was the jumping off point as far as some of the additional revisions or changes to the plan. We've also had multiple meetings with the subject matter experts, their designers who review the applications in order to look to enhance the pedestrian safety at that intersection of Route 9 and Strickland Road. So I'll start off by, as part of DOT improvements, and then as well as this application, some of the changes that have already been made at the intersection, changes that are coming, and changes that with this application are additionally proposed. So first of all, and this was actually discussed amongst us, myself, professionals, the board at the last meeting, was the implementation at the traffic light of what we call a lead pedestrian interval. And so this is essentially, if you push the button to cross Route 9, you will be given that walk symbol before Strickland Road turns green. So you are given about 4 to 5 seconds of walk time with no traffic in the intersection. And what this does is it establishes the pedestrian within the crosswalk, right? Motorists notice that, hey, my light hasn't turned green yet. They see the pedestrians going. They see that they have the walk symbol. That's one thing that you commonly look for when you're driving is what are the pedestrian signal heads doing. And it's a proven safety measure to support pedestrian safety crossing the intersection. So that is already installed at the intersection. We've tested it. It works. I think the biggest challenge with it is actually getting people to press the button. Out there, you're just watching it today during the commuting peak coming home. People coming off the buses, looking to cross that intersection, they typically.
The car does not stop.
Just wait your turn.
Wait, you have a chance to speak. Let me finish. Go ahead.
Yep, so people commonly don't press the button. They cross with the solid hand, if you will. Some cross during the green phase because it's the end of the day. You just want to get home. There's a big gap in traffic. So it's a useful tool to help get pedestrians across, but it requires someone to just push the button. And that's its limitation, if you will. The second improvement, which is not yet installed, but will be as a part of the repaving that's been going on out there, are high visibility crosswalks. And so these are your thick striped ladder bar style crosswalks that are proven to be more effective in terms of motorist recognition of a crosswalk being present and pedestrians within the crosswalk. And so when DOT stripes stripes in the stop bars and the crosswalks, through the corridor, we have been informed by the DOT that there will be a high visibility crosswalk installed.
John, just to interrupt real quick.
Yep.
Will the applicant be installing those new crosswalks, or is that DOT?
So that is DOT. We've asked for the plan from DOT. They haven't given us the plan, but I would also be willing to stipulate that if for some reason DOT does not actually put that in, we would include that as part of our current application and make sure that the high-vis crosswalks are there. We think it's important, but we also are pretty confident that DOT will stripe that in.
Okay.
The third piece, and this is what we brought to the DOT after learning of these other two measures that we wanted to do, but they kind of beat us to it, is improved lighting at the intersection. So as we reviewed the crash history at the intersection, in particular, the fatalities that occurred involving pedestrians, common theme was that these were occurring more to dusk or at night. And the intersection today, while it is technically compliant with the DOT standards, could be upgraded in terms of its lighting, in terms of a more uniform lighting pattern throughout the intersection, so you don't have dark spots or shadows through there. And so especially as we get into the winter months where the sun goes down earlier and you still have that commuting traffic, I think that enhanced lighting at the intersection, specifically, upgrading to LED lighting is a big part of that. That is something that we are implementing as part of our access permit application. We have already discussed it with the DOT, and they are agreeable to it. Right, it fits within their lighting standards, but it certainly improves the uniformity of the lighting through the intersection. And I think that when you have a crossing where people aren't necessarily waiting for their walk symbol to cross, having the lighting is certainly a benefit in terms of visibility, both for pedestrians and motorists on Route 9.
What about the traffic movement on Strickland? Have any changes been made since the last meeting or that were discussed?
Yes, so the changes to Strickland, that brings me sort of my next section of my notes here, and Mr. Chan talked about it a little bit, but the eastern driveway, we are fully committed to right in, right out only, so no left turns in or out at that driveway, and we've provided a sharp channelization through there in order to achieve that. At the western driveway, with discussions with Charlie and Sean, we were exploring providing a dedicated left turn lane for turning into that westerly site driveway. That way we're creating two separate left turning points. One's dedicated at the signal, and then one's split and separate, dedicated at the driveway itself. From their comment letter, and they can speak to this a little bit more, but from their comment letter, it does create a little bit of interference with the residential street opposite Strickland. And so we are still working on exploring what the best layout in terms of full movement access striping would be for here. It very well could be kind of keeping it as is with just the two lanes, the one lane in each direction. And the current widths of the roadway out there do allow vehicles to bypass someone waiting for a left turn. So that is where we're at in terms of the suggestions, with that driveway itself and with the change in access point. So no lefts at the eastern driveway, and then seeing the best striping layout and working with T&M's office at the western driveway for those left turns.
And did you, in terms of your traffic impact study that you prepared and testified to at the last meeting, is there any update or changes to that?
Yeah, so there's a few updates on the traffic study. Some of them are called out within the T&M review letter. But as we had a little bit more time and went and looked back at the traffic study, reviewed some of the the prior means and methods of doing the traffic study, we made some revisions to the study to hopefully, narrow down, make it a little bit tighter, a little bit more accurate from the previous iterations. That included updates to the background growth rate, where we, with the updated traffic impact study, separated by classification of the roadway network. So Route 9, it's a principal arterial. Strickland Road, it's a minor collector. Those have different growth rates for the DOT, so we went and updated that to be more technically correct within the study, sort of a double check, if you will. We also amended the impacts of some other projects in the area, some of which were talked about at the last meeting. We removed certain projects that were already built in 2024, projects that were at one point in entitlements and have completely been removed from the entitlements process by virtue of another application coming on for that site. So we were at one point counting the same site, two different developments twice. So some double counting issues in there, some between single sites being counted twice, and also just traffic on the road being counted twice. And then we also updated within the analysis. Yeah.
Can you speak to which developments were omitted in the most recent traffic report, specifically?
Yeah, so removed from there, Swan River Commons. So this is the site that it's almost just across the street. It's on Route 9 North, just south of the intersection.
It's Howell Medical Investors. They came back and got a new approval, so they counted it twice in their traffic.
By Howell Medical Investors.
Thank you. Elton Plaza, this is the Wawa development in Freehold. It's largely, if not entirely, built out.
It's the one right by 524? Where
Yes.
the Wawa, the Taco Bell, and across the street
Yep.
is the mixed use?
Elton Adelphia Plaza, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, and then FP Howell. This is a site that I believe was discussed at the last meeting, but it's fairly substantially far away from the application, and the traffic impacts from that development through this intersection are likely captured in the background growth rate, as well as it being partially complete already. So those ones were removed from the traffic study, but we still are including Howell Medical Investors. We still are including the Howell Ridge, the 458 multifamily development, and then Howell 360. These larger multifamily projects along Route 9 that certainly are going to see some traffic change in the corridor. Those ones are all still in the report, still included within our study.
And what conclusions did you reach as it relates to each of the access points?
Yeah, so each of the access points will operate at acceptable levels of service. We talked about at the last hearing some small timing changes at the traffic signal. We still are looking at small timing changes, but they have gotten smaller. So the amount of time that we would give to Strickland, instead of increasing it 6 or 7 seconds, would only go up about 2 to 4 seconds. So in terms of mitigating our impacts, there's less of a lift to mitigate, based on the new calculations, the new access.
Why was that change made? Why was that change made? Because I believe you and I discussed that at the last meeting. And it was going to 7 seconds, and I asked you how many additional cars would go through. I think your answer at that time was 7, 8?
Yeah, so toward the end of the cycle, you get about a vehicle per second.
Correct.
Going through, that kind of movement. The reason it was changed was because of really the NJDOT's level of service degradation criteria. With our changes in the calculations in the report, what those shake out to be, and by not moving as much time to Strickland Road, it allows for more potential time on Route 9, which is going to be a priority of the DOT as part of the application.
Which in turn would increase the backup on Strickland Road during peak times.
I wouldn't say that it would increase the backup, because the way that the intersection operates is that if there is no vehicle being called during the green phase, it terminates.
Yes.
Right, so if I added 20 seconds to that approach, it's not very likely to add in the full 20 seconds or even half of that 20 seconds before we run out of vehicles to process through and it terminates.
Right, so it doesn't affect it when there's no traffic, but it does impact it when there is a backup. It doesn't allow more traffic to flow through, if I understand you correctly.
If it was backed up like that, I think that is correct, what you're saying. What I'm trying to
That's my question, that's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm agreeing with that statement, but what I'm trying to articulate is that the timing plan that is proposed successfully mitigates that backup, and that adding more time to it doesn't achieve much.
So can I just ask a question, and then you can ask your question?
Mm-hmm.
Did you evaluate the permitted uses in the zone in terms of potential trip generation, traffic generators?
Yeah, there's a couple that that generate at similar levels of this. I think the main one would be a fast food restaurant with drive-through.
So that's similar or more?
So it's about the same, maybe slightly less total trips in and out, say like a Chick-fil-A, one of the larger fast food chains, but those fast food developments, while they do capture pass-by traffic on Route 9, it is not as much as a quick check would do. So the amount of added traffic to the road is higher, even if there are, slightly fewer vehicles in and out of the driveways, making a hard count.
But you could also fit potentially 2 fast foods on this site, right? Where you have the canopy.
Yeah, this site, a typical quick check site can fit multiple development concepts. So 2 fast food pads would very likely fit on this site. And
I
that
think
would,
the question is, if this site were to be developed conforming to the underlying zoning with a permitted use, there are those uses in that zone that would generate the same, if not more, traffic and not require variance relief, correct?
yes.
I had one follow-up question that was raised in the TM report about the deliveries of the, particularly gas. Those deliveries, the question was, are they limited to the Route 9 access?
So my answer to that is yes, yes, it would be, because so we're looking at the driveways on Strickland, right? That would be your alternative. For one, that right-in, right-out driveway is very channelized, not meant to accommodate truck traffic, right? Trucks have a wider swing. They need a bigger turning radius, and a truck would not be able to navigate that, or at least, the larger fueling trucks. Perhaps a box truck could, but. And then as we get to the western driveway, that sharper S-curve, trying to leave the site through the Strickland Road access is going to face a big challenge trying to make that.
So the applicant would agree to limit the truck deliveries to Route 9 only?
Yes.
Will there be signage for that?
Well, they usually tell, we could certainly do that, but they usually tell their delivery people what the route is, so they would know. Other than the box.
I don't know, I buy that's going to happen all the time.
We have no issue signing it if you just.
No problem. We've done it in the past.
Yeah, because I mean, that to me is not a good thing if they came out on Strickland, so yeah.
No, we agree.
Okay.
I have a question about the traffic light timing.
Sure.
How do you, as the client, ensure that DOT implements the dynamic timing that you're suggesting, both immediately when the project is in place and in the future?
Right, so it becomes part of our access permit application, and throughout this process, especially as of late, we have been working directly with TNM. They've attended all of our meetings with DOT, and we can continue to do that to ensure that the change in timing that we're seeking to implement is implemented. Okay. And DOT is going to, they want to provide the best possible timing directive, and timing changes as a result of developments, those occur all the time. In my experience working on land development applications with DOT, and they want to be ahead of that. They want to not be responding to an influx of cars. They want to have the correct timing in place.
Mr. Korik, those times can be variable throughout different periods of the day, right? It's not just, okay.
And they are.
Okay.
They currently are, so there are actually 4 different, I'll call it standard sets of time. There's a weekday morning, a weekday evening, there's a weekday midday / daily on the weekend, and then there's an overnight timing that is, provides a very short amount of time to Strickland, sort of on demand. Otherwise, it rests in green.
Thank you.
John, can you provide testimony regarding the eastbound left turn, the level of service, and the delay, build versus no build?
Yeah, so with our mitigation, we bring that level of service to, it starts at a D, about 47, 48 seconds, 47.4. It becomes an E, 56.2. So this change, so the crossing of the D to E threshold occurs at the 55-second mark. So we're 1.2 seconds over that mark. Those letter grade thresholds are not necessarily like a super critical, denoter of, hey, you need to be under this threshold. But the change there, it is an increase in delay. We could shift more time to move that, but we were looking to balance what we expect the DOT to tell us when we present our timing directive, while being, honest and truthful to the board.
But ultimately, the DOT makes the call.
Correct.
John, the 56.2 seconds, that's the build condition with the mitigation you're proposing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And would the applicant be comfortable making the mitigation a condition of approval?
Yes, I think we have to. We're not going to get DOT approval without it, so.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many fuel delivery trucks do you anticipate coming from the north side of 9?
Like
So they would have the northbound, no, they're coming northbound, they're going northbound. So what you're saying is they're not going to be able to go in on Strickland, so they're not going to go up Wyckoff. They're going to have to go up to a jug handle to come back around. What's the next jug handle?
524.
Is that a big, I'm trying to remember, is that a pretty big jug handle?
Yeah, that's been redone as a result of the Freehold Township development on the opposite corners. That's a bigger, much larger jug handle.
Which way?
That's all Freehold Township.
South or north?
No, if the delivery truck was heading north, they would go past the quick check, because they won't go on Wyckoff to make the left on Strickland, because they're not allowed to come in on Strickland.
Oh, I got you.
They would have to go up to.
Coming from south.
Yeah.
They would go
The-
going
Coming from
north,
195.
coming back down south.
Yeah, coming from 195, they'd have to turn around, yeah.
Yeah, they would have to make a turnaround.
They'd have
There
to
is,
turn that-
there is a light at Halls Mill or Kozlowski Road, whatever it's called there, that new intersection that was just built
Yeah.
there. But I don't think that that's large enough to be able to
It's
make
definitely not.
U-turns for, yeah.
And how is that exactly controlled with the drivers?
Yeah, so Quick Check controls their fuel deliveries 100%. So they are able to instruct their drivers to take a specific delivery path, if you will, to the site. And normally they're making multiple stops. And so they will provide a routing that works for that configuration.
I guess my question is, how is that controlled? Like, do the drivers pay attention to this? Do they do what they're told? Do they just kind of, will they just go off, will they go off Wyckoff, make the left on Strickland and just try to get in off of Strickland? Like, who controls that?
Right, so two pieces to that. One, Quick Check controls it.
Wait a minute, stop. Quick Check does not control Wyckoff Mills Road and who gets off of Route 9 on Wyckoff Mills Road and goes on Strickland to come across to go in there. They do not control it.
Of their fuel deliveries, yes.
I mean, it's great to say this here, but let's be real. You're going to control a tractor trailer driver? No, you're not. They're going to come in, how they're going to come in. The people that work at Quick Check are not the corporate people. You think that the cashier and the gas pumper is going to control how the gas truck comes in? Come on. I think it's a legitimate question, and you have to anticipate that it's going to happen.
Okay, so the second piece of this is literally the design of these driveways. They don't support those truck movements, the ones on Strickland.
Yeah, but where do they end up if they end up on Strickland and then they can't turn? They're going down into a residential area. And
Right, and that's part of the truck driver's responsibility.
Yeah.
That bakes
But
back
that doesn't
into
help
that.
the people that are living near this place, so that's a concern.
I can tell you that these fuel drivers and delivery drivers are on a schedule, and that these types of mistakes are not beneficial to that schedule and their ability to make these deliveries. I mean, we've designed it in every way possible to restrict Strickland Road truck access. Can you limit anyone from turning anywhere? Outside of geometry, no.
Where on the property are the fuel, the things in the ground where they
dump the fuel into?
They are on your screen on the right side, so along the Route 9 frontage.
Okay, I see.
Between the canopy and Route 9. Sorry, your screens are
So it
far
behooves
away.
them to come in from Route 9.
Of course. Yeah, and that's a very simple maneuver for them.
Right.
And then would that restriction to these drivers only be for the fuel delivery drivers? Does it also go for the guy delivering the potato chips and the soda, or are they all coming in on 9, or can some of them come in on Strickland? I mean, the box truck, are the box trucks coming on Strickland, the sodas, the potato chips, the...
Yeah, so I'll answer that first with sort of explaining a little bit on the quick check deliveries. They do get a tractor trailer delivery that comes from their corporate distribution. That will of course be instructed only on Route 9. Now, of course, we've all seen at, whether it's Quick Check, Wawa, or other places, there are the box truck deliveries, the Entenmann's Bakery, the Lay's potato chips, Pepsi, the Coke. Those are the smaller box trucks. Now, we can certainly look to, and we've already agreed to the signage to restrict them from using the Strickland Road driveways. We can, instruct them to do so.
But we have less control over those.
But we have less control. And, we can certainly prohibit the exit movement with that signage, of course, be enforceable. How to do so on the ingress movement is a little bit more of a challenge, I admit that.
What would be the largest food
I think the
truck?
I think the Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola or Pepsi
Beverage
trucks are
trucks,
usually 40-foot box truck.
Coke trucks. Same
But
Pepsi.
And that Strickland entrance, the right in, can accommodate a Pepsi or a Coke truck?
I don't think so. I think at best, the western one, and you're possibly overlapping with the exit lane.
I just have a hard time with this, because you're not going to control these truck drivers. I mean, I understand.
Yeah, I don't think those trucks are going into the neighborhood. They will get on the site if they're on Strickland.
And that line of questioning and testimony wouldn't change if this was a Chick-fil-A or another fast food restaurant, would it?
No.
Well, the dimensions of the driveway might be different if it was a Chick-fil-A or something else. These are your dimensions. Their dimensions might be some, so I don't think that's a relevant statement. I mean, it would be a totally different plan,
Because
probably.
a gas tanker is a little different coming to a site,
Yes, gas tankers, but any truck. I
Yeah.
mean, this is their design.
Chick-fil-A has one,
Mr. Alfieri said, well, what if it's a Chick-fil-A? Well, Chick-fil-A would have a totally different design.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A would have one type of truck too. They're food distributor.
Right.
They're not gonna have Coke, Pepsi, chips.
And they're not going to have a oil tank truck. So that's a big contrast, so that, I agree with you, it's
Yes.
irrelevant.
The other thing I wanted to ask was, I believe, and I did watch it today because I wasn't here at the last meeting. I believe you said, getting back to this seconds that you were talking with Mr. Ryan about, that it was going to be 7 or 8 seconds, and now it's down to 2 to 4. I believe you said that the 7 to 8 seconds would bring the traffic back to the numbers of a no build.
Correct.
So now we're not back at no build, because now we're only 2 to 4 seconds instead of the 7 or 8 seconds that we were talking about.
Yeah, so that in and of itself, I guess, speaks to one of the prior questions about that level of service in that morning peak hour, the D to E, where it goes down to 56.2 from the 47.4. And increasing the number of seconds there is something that would help that. But whether or not the DOT accepts that, we were predicting that this would be the configuration they would go with.
And even from 2 to 4 seconds, even that's, 2 seconds is a big difference to 4 seconds. I mean,
So the
you're
4
doubling.
the 4 seconds is for the morning period. The 2 seconds was the Saturday period.
Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr. O'Donnell.
I would like to know what the hours of operation are.
The 24-hour store.
7 days a week?
Yes.
Now, what about the charging? If they want to charge your car, there's 24 hours too?
You know, that's a good question that I don't know that I have the answer to. Let me
What
find that
about,
out.
like say the trash pickup? I mean, how many times a week are they going to pick that up, and is it a designated time? How much traffic are you going to have between midnight and 7 o'clock, being you're open up at 24 hours a day?
Mhm.
I know you're going to have plenty of it during the day. That's a very busy intersection.
Yeah, I mean, from a traffic perspective, obviously the volumes at Quick Check are lower overnight. Obviously, the volumes on Route 9 are lower overnight. I can't speak to sort of that business consideration of being open.
Well, I'm just wondering how much noise is going to be made, because there's a community right across the street to the left.
Yeah, I understand. It's just outside of my expertise.
Well, to me, it's traffic related to my decision, how I'm going to decide. I didn't know it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe it was said, but I'm just realizing it now, and I'm thinking, well, I'll give you my opinion when it comes time. Thank you.
Does any of the professionals remember from our last meeting, was there testimony from operations as far as the deliveries overnight? Could you
She was pretty on top of it, honestly, my recollection. Charlie, I know you can't really talk, but she was really on top of any question that we had in terms of operations. And they do tend to try to schedule the deliveries when the store is not at its peak occupancy, right? Does that mean middle of the night? I don't know, but I do think, did she talk about when the deliveries were coming other than off-peak, right?
I don't recall.
John, can you talk to timing and frequency of deliveries and how that coincides with the peaks on the adjacent roadway?
Yeah, so what Quick Check typically looks for is to schedule those deliveries outside of the roadway peaks when, the store and the roadway are busiest. But they're also, considerate, especially when we're adjacent to residential areas, of not scheduling that delivery window during that overnight period. They have accepted, restrictions to that in the past. The same thing, on the trash pickup, where you can, I know that the trash guys like to get out there early, 5 a.m., but if there's a condition that the board requires.
Yeah, because,
good.
I think we're going to be looking that way, because I know there was some issues came to the council about a disposal truck coming at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's early.
And and if we don't have some guidelines to that, we're opening a can of worms for that could occur.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
who controls that?
Well-
Is that something PD would control if a...
Well, no, that's-
a
yeah.
recycling truck or is coming, 5 o'clock in the morning?
I could answer that question.
Yeah.
So currently, we have an ordinance on the books that prevents garbage pickup before, I believe it's 7 a.m., but that's only in residential zones. So it does not apply to commercial zones, which this is in the highway HD1, HC1.
But we could certainly make that a stipulation, though, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, also, we have to take into consideration with all the deliveries from all different sources, that we have school buses coming there in the morning, and school buses in the evening, bringing kids home. And if those trucks are all coming at the same time, that place is already congested.
So I'm looking at my notes from the testimony from the Quick Check rep, and there wasn't a time specified, but she said that fuel deliveries are 7 to 8 times per week. And box trucks for the other deliveries are 4 to 5 times per day. Refuse would be 2 to 3 times per week. And the hours we haven't,
I watched it today, and I have the same numbers you have, but I didn't reference.
There were no hours.
There was no hours.
No, there were none. Yeah, I don't have any on my notes. but we could try and get an answer before we leave.
Okay. Okay. Anything further in your testimony? Professionals, any more questions? Board members?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to try two more things. So as far as deliveries during normal business hours, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for box trucks and the like, is that something the applicant can agree to?
I'll confirm with their
Okay.
operations.
And then I think potentially also no fueling deliveries, maybe from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. might keep it so there's enough window for it's off-peak from the roadway network, but also we're not getting deliveries at 3 in the morning, with beepers and everything like that. And then also I think a condition of signage for both the delivery area, but also the parking area. It's standard for most of these kind of quick service establishments, no idling of vehicles, because that can be, if a delivery vehicle is parking there and they're leaving that on, that's generating noise pollution and air pollution. That might help alleviate some of those aspects. And if it's a signage, then it's something that, code enforcement can enforce if someone makes a complaint.
We'll get, when our next witness comes up, John, we'll talk to the client, the quick check rep, try and clarify those times, make sure
Okay.
they work.
The no idling signs have to
It's
be
easy,
agreed to.
that's easy. Yeah.
And just to reemphasize too, the trash pickup too is banging into the dumpsters.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, sorry, I'm actually improving, this is crazy. One of the Police Traffic Safety Unit issued a memo, because it came up at the last hearing with concerns regarding accidents, pedestrian fatalities. One of the most recent ones, the cause of that was determined by PD is south of Strickland, there's no fence in the center island. So folks, after the 7-Eleven was put in from the crossroads, they're walking up, they're trying to get the quickest route, and they're crossing over the median to get up there. And that was one of the results of the latest fatalities. They made a recommendation to DOT for one, to put the fence in across the median, but also they made a recommendation for the installation of sidewalks from the crossroads up to this signalized intersection to help facilitate pedestrians going up and using the intersection. The actual, push buttons to use the crosswalks. What I foresee, if the board is inclined to act favorably on this, a lot of that pedestrian traffic, instead of going up and then going over to 7-Eleven, they're just now going to go to the quick check. So we're making it easier and it's a shorter path for them, but right now there's no sidewalk. So I think it would be certainly a positive for this application if the applicant was amenable to be providing sidewalk from the crosswalks, from the crossroads up to the signalized intersection, through the slip ramp, through the jug handle, and that might help ameliorate some of these concerns with pedestrians. At least we're keeping them on Route 9 up to the quick check. Again, if the board's act favorably on the application, instead of them looking to then try to cut across to the 7-Eleven, I think that would be something that would certainly be a positive for this application if the applicant was amenable to that.
Charlie, those pedestrians that you're talking about that were crossing crossing Route 9 south of the intersection, any idea where they were coming from?
The crossroads, so I think there's a senior, it's like assisted senior living facility there. Yeah, so this is my understanding, I've had some verbal conversations with BD. The most recent one was someone, it wasn't the bus delivery north of the intersection, it was someone coming from the crossroads, just crossing over the median there to then get up to the 7-Eleven. If DOT does fence that, then that's going to push people up to the intersection, but we don't have any sidewalks to get them to the intersection. And then we're going to be essentially kind of channelizing them to that quick check. That's the shortest distance. People are going to go wherever the shortest distance is. I think providing that sidewalk, is certainly a positive with this application if they're willing to provide it. That would be my recommendation. So.
John?
Yeah, we would be willing to provide that sidewalk, yes.
And that would be within the DOT right-of-way?
Correct.
You should talk more, Charlie. It's coming back stronger.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You get some answers.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. For the record, Christine Cafone, again testifying as a licensed professional planner. Credentials still the same, testified here and hundreds
Yeah,
of
you're,
boards.
except, ready to go.
And Christine, based upon the testimony we just heard, there were a couple lingering issues that we're going to get answers to as it relates to the delivery hours of operation, both trash, et cetera. So your testimony would be couched that those aren't finalized yet, but we will finalize before tonight's over.
Correct. Yes,
Right.
we can certainly get answers onto those. They're pretty typical questions that come up associated with this. I know Jennifer provided testimony last month about quite a bit of the operations, but I'm just not sure that we testified to the window of those deliveries. But I can tell you, I have done dozens of these convenience store with gas applications throughout the state of New Jersey, and they are routinely regulated to the off-peak hours. So I can tell you that as a significant part of my practice is testifying on these type of uses. So the reason we're here before the zoning board, despite the fact that we are on a major commercial corridor at a strong corner intersection of Strickland and Route 9 in the township's HC Highway Commercial Zoning District, we need a use variance because this use is not specifically permitted here. This is a 2.8 acre site in the HC zone, the purpose of which that zone is to provide for highway-oriented development in the Route 9 corridor on lots which would not otherwise conform to the highway development zone standards due to the established pattern of lotting. So I would tell you, the board, my office looked at the size of lots in and around the general vicinity and the subject in the HC zone, and the subject property is substantially larger. So this property is immediately adjacent to the west to an R4 zone, and there's an HD1 zone right across the street. So going further north on Route 1, in the HC zone, Route 9, the lots run from about 0.23 acres to 0.96 acres. So this corner lot is substantially larger than any other larger lots in the HC zone. And the HC zone is what I would consider a pretty permissive district. And when I say a pretty permissive district, it means there's a lot of things that are allowed there. It allows offices and financial institutions, and it specifically allows for restaurants with or without a drive-through. So you can certainly have that, but it also allows for microbreweries, indoor recreation, health and fitness facilities, adult daycares. Conditionally, it allows a house of worship, an auto service, or a car wash, or a school and a telecommunication facilities. About the only two uses that it lists as prohibited are tattoo shops and sexually oriented businesses. So what I would consider, in my understanding of the Howell Township zoning districts, a fairly permissive and intensive commercial district, despite the fact that the subject use is not permissible. I do think that as a strong corner lot that's nearly 3 acres and substantially larger than anything else in the HC zone, with direct frontage right on Route 9, that this site is particularly suitable for the proposed use. As Mr. Korak testified to, this use thrives on pass-by traffic, and there's certainly plenty of it in the Route 9 corridor. So I do think that the size, the fact that we're a strong corner, and that the site could accommodate, if it were permitted, conditionally what you would consider required for a conditional use for this use, we would meet them, because one of the conditions that you require for a convenience store with gas is that it be located on a corner lot with access, and we certainly comply with that. So I do think that the site is suitable. The other thing I will tell you is that directly across the street where the 7-Eleven is in the HD1 zone, this would be a permissible use. So this is sort of a fringe zoning district to where the use would be allowed, and I think that the conditions are quite similar, on the other side of Route 9 as they are on this property. So I think the site is suitable. As far as the positive criteria, we have to demonstrate that one or more purposes of the municipal land use law would be advanced. I think that there are 3 of them that are advanced by this application, at least 3. Criteria G talks about sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of uses. We meet every other bulk requirement for the HC zone. And when I say bulk requirement, I'm talking about setbacks, coverage. We were asking for some relief. In fact, the only other relief other than the use variance associated with this application is for a very small portion of the westernmost driveway to be located in the residential buffer. There's already a driveway in that residential buffer to Strickland, so that's sort of an existing condition, and we're moving our driveway further west away from that residential area, although a small part of it is in the residential buffer. Other than that, the only other relief we're asking for is the signs, and we've really pared down our sign package. and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But when I talk about sufficient space in appropriate locations, we do meet all the bulk criteria for the HC zone. Criteria J talks about avoiding urban sprawl and degradation of the environment. So one of the things in your master plan is to encourage the redevelopment or revitalization of vacant or underutilized property. As you know, as I'm sure many of you have driven by it, this property has a small bank branch on it, and it's not even operational now, but we all know from our experience these days banks tend to be pretty much a sleepy little use. So it's got a sleepy little use on it right now, but it is in a major commercial corridor, so I think that this is exactly the type of site that your master plan talks about when it talks about encouraging the redevelopment or revitalization of vacant or underutilized properties. And one of the things as planners we know that repurposing existing underutilized sites in commercial areas that have access to infrastructure and utilities is certainly consistent with avoiding urban sprawl. And then the last one, criteria M, talks about an efficient use of the lands, and I believe that this application is laid out efficiently. We worked very hard with your professionals to try to come to, to meet some of the objectives, not only of your zoning ordinance of your master plan, but to be sensitive to our residential neighbors to the west. We have worked to develop a berm in that area. We have a 50-foot landscape buffer that has, as Mr. Chan testified earlier, literally hundreds of plantings on a 6-foot high berm. So I think that this is a site layout that is efficient and substantially conforming with the bulk criteria that was envisioned in the HC zone. I think that actually, if you had a use that was conforming in the HC zone, it would potentially be more disruptive to the neighborhood than that which is being proposed in conjunction with this application. We're providing a substantial buffer, and as was spoken to earlier, this site could likely handle 2 pads on it, given the size, the underlying zone requirements. So I think the program is efficient and that the positive criteria are satisfied. Then that takes us as planners, we have to demonstrate, right, that the negative criteria is satisfied. And the land use law does not ask you to hold us as an applicant or any applicant to a standard that there be no detriment. You have to balance, is the benefits associated with this application outweighing any detriment? And again, this is, we are not asking you, and I'm sure that a lot of the concerns that the neighbors would have, they would have with a permitted use. If we were here for a conforming use, there would be concerns with respect to, I'm sure, odors or activities if it were, so I think that there's a functions of developing this property that you are going to have when you have commercial uses abutting residential uses. Your ordinance addresses that because it requires a 50-foot landscape buffer, which this application is contemplating, right? This is not the first site that Howell Township or any other municipality has seen where you have residences that are near a highway corridor that you have to develop these issues. I can tell you that our building at its closest point is about 184 feet to the nearest structure to the west. So that's over a football field away to our nearest structure to the west. I think the board can certainly consider that when considering the negative criteria. I think that the use has been well landscaped, well thought out, and well laid out. And as far as the impact on the zone plan, this is a commercial zone. It is not rising to the level of those uses that are prohibited in the zone. And I think that the test is substantial. The other thing I would point out is that in 2022, Howell Township redid your land use element of your master plan, and in that master plan, you acknowledged, this is specifically reading from that plan, gas service stations are an important resource in case of power outage and during other emergency events. And our office counted about 17 gas stations in and around the area, 10 of which were located in the Route 9 corridor. So this is certainly an appropriate location to have a gasoline filling station. And the master plan in Howell unequivocally directs commercial activity to the Route 9 corridor and specifically on sites that are already developed and underutilized. So while the use is not specifically permitted in the HC zone, it's certainly not dissimilar in the way it impacts the surrounding community than many of the as-of-right uses in the HC zone. And as far as the Medici reconciliation, I think that this is a site that is unique compared to the HC zone in that this is a substantially larger strong corner property. So that's essentially my testimony on the particular suitability, the positive and negative criteria, and the impact on the master plan. I see this as an opportunity to impact and implement not only that stated purpose and intent of the HC zone, which I read earlier, which is to provide for highway-oriented development. This is unequivocally a highway-oriented use, so certainly consistent with the stated purpose of the HC zone. So with that being said, I believe that we meet our statutory burden of proof with respect to the grant of the use variance. I provided testimony on particular suitability as well as the positive and negative criteria and impact on the zone plan as well as the reconciliation of the use from the zone plan. And I think the board can grant this variance with no substantial detriment to the zone plan or the public good. Anything you put on this property, conforming or otherwise, will have an impact on the Route 9 corridor as well as the area. That's just the fact of developing property, right? When we put a shovel in the ground and we bring development to a site, there are going to be impacts associated with that, but this site is zoned for commercial development. And while this is not a specifically enumerated use, it will perform similar to some of those enumerated uses. As far as the signs, we really boiled our signs down, right? We agreed to comply with the directional sign, so that leaves us with the size of the pylon sign. I believe we made the proffer that we were going to eliminate the developer panel. And it was really just Strickland Crossings. It wasn't advertising Doran Development. It was just a name of the development, so the developer wasn't naming himself. He just had a name of the development, but we've agreed to remove that. So with that being said, we're reduced to the lot area, or the sign area of the pylon along Route 9, and then the height of that sign is slightly non-conforming at 12 versus 10 feet. I think given the size of the sign and the travel of the motoring public in the corridor and the ability we want our motoring public to make proper driving decisions, I think the sign is appropriately sized to the site and the corridor, and that we also need just a little bit of relief with respect to the number of signs because we have more than the number of wall signs permissible because the Quick Check and the Q logo and the Quick Check are different. But the percentage of the wall area is below what we would be allowed to have. It's just the number of the signs that violates. And this is a situation where the building fronts both Route 9 and Strickland, so I think it's reasonable and customary when you have that situation to have signage fronting each roadway adjoining a property. So with that being said, again, my testimony is complete in that we meet our burden of proof for the grant of this use variance together with the sign package. I think the signs are well placed to the building and not overburdensome to the walls that they sit on. They are conforming with the percentage of the wall area, and they are, given the fact that we have two road frontages, certainly justifiable. So I don't know, Sal, did I miss anything on direct that I wanted to have here? Let me just go. Oh, I talked about the residential buffer. If we could bring our site plan up, because I can show you on the site plan where that is. It's our westernmost driveway on Strickland that sits in that 50-foot buffer, and that's it. So at one point, we were asking for relief to have other structures in our buffer, and we eliminated those.
So initially, there were 2 parking spaces or a couple parking spaces in that area. It's also important to note, though, however, across the street, across Strickland, at the jug handle for Route 9, technically is zoned residential and would therefore require the requisite 50-foot buffer. This we talked about at the last meeting, and we decided that up until the edge of the jug handle was, even though it's technically zoned residential, it's not residential, and so therefore, and it's not changing. The jug handle's not going anywhere. So therefore, we felt that that was justifiable, and that they modified their plan to remove whatever additional parking spaces were in that area as you move to the west, and just the driveway, which technically the ingress and egress is permitted through the buffer. So they do technically need buffer relief, but I don't take any exception to how they've laid that out.
Right, and then here, my highlighter is showing where this 50-foot residential buffer is, and if you go in a northerly direction, you can see that we pulled this is our stormwater basin, we pulled that out of the buffer, and you see that we respect the 50-foot residential buffer here. So this is, in my opinion, a very technical situation and that we need the buffer. And we are, in every respect of the word, meeting the intent of your ordinance with respect to buffering, because you will have a 6-foot-high berm in here with the pines that Sherry referred to earlier and the hundreds of landscaping plants. So we are certainly, and if you see on here, this is 164
You know, we
feet.
can't see that.
They can't.
You can't see it?
Well, no, because that's not on.
Oh.
But the,
So
They're
there's
looking at
Here, I'll
this.
turn
Don't
around
be
and do it here.
blinding us with your
I'm not
pointer.
gonna blind you. It's fine. So this is the 50-foot buffer here. This line is the 50-foot buffer here, and then it tracks right along the western side of the basin, and we've pulled that basin out of the 50-foot buffer, so this is how the line jogs like that. So it's
It's
this
just
little
the driveway.
area here that I'm referring to. I apologize, I thought you could see that.
Typically, they have
I
it
don't know
up
how I
here.
thought you could see that when I'm pointing to it here, but I just thought you could.
yeah, it's normally
So
up
I
there, but that's not
apologize for that, but that is the 50-foot buffer, and I can assure you that we are certainly meeting the intent, because that will be an undisturbed area where our berm is, and it will be well planted and landscaped. So that's it, I have nothing
all the
further
planning
on
we have.
direct.
Okay. Jennifer?
So the only thing I would say, and I don't disagree with the rationale, but I don't think this is avoiding urban sprawl, quite frankly. I do agree with your interpretation of the master plan and how this furthers what the master plan calls. I just don't know that it falls under that avoiding urban sprawl qualification. But as Ms. Caffone indicated, they don't need to provide justification that they meet all the goals of zoning. They only have to meet one, and I do agree with the two that she did quote, which is sufficient space at appropriate location.
G and M then. So
Right,
G
correct, G and M, correct.
And
So,
K.
I mean, this is a highway corridor, this is a highway use. If this was like 30 feet to the south, they would be at the planning board. So they wouldn't even be here. So I don't disagree that these type of uses are things that we would like to see along the highway. I think it's important to note too, and I don't know, Christine, if you did this analysis, but from the Freehold border, the only gas station on the southbound side of Route 9, as you're heading south from Freehold, you stop at Sunnyside. That's the first one. Then you go beyond there, beyond 195, and at that first light, there's another one, and then you don't hit another gas station until you get to Wawa down here. So I don't disagree that it's an appropriate location along a highway corridor. I also don't disagree that it's an efficient use of land. Leaving a vacant building on commercial property fronting on a state highway when the town has made a concerted effort to engage in redevelopment opportunities for the Route 9 corridor, both the northbound and the southbound side. I don't necessarily think this is inconsistent with that initiative. So that being said, in terms of the positive criteria, the detriment, you guys are going to have to weigh the testimony that you heard previously with respect to the traffic and how you feel about how that's being handled. I know that there's been significant work done by the applicant and the DOT to make this application as impact-free as potentially possible. And I use that word because it's important that I don't disagree that we have very high-intense uses that are permitted in that zone that would create more traffic than this, like more destination-type traffic, more traffic overall. And if this was an application that was before the planning board, all these off-track improvements from a traffic standpoint, including sidewalk, extending, left turn lanes, all those things are things that the planning board is not allowed to ask for because off-site traffic is not something that's considered. So, listen, this is Route 9. It's a commercial piece of property. I understand it's a difficult intersection, but that doesn't mean that the site should stay undeveloped, right? So you guys are going to have to decide whether or not the impact associated with what's being proposed, because I don't disagree with the testimony on the goals of zoning and the positive criteria. So you guys are going to have to determine whether or not the potential negatives from a traffic standpoint, which is basically where we are, versus the positive about bringing a underutilized vacant piece of commercial property on Route 9 back into utilization. You're going to have to weigh that. But from a planning standpoint, This is not a use we want in the middle of a neighborhood. This is not a use we want off the beaten path. This is a use we want on Route 9 or on 33, which we have a quick check on 33, as you know. So I don't disagree with what has been testified, and you guys are going to have to weigh how you feel about the traffic testimony and the impact that that brings to the table. But keep in mind, again, if this was a permitted use, all these off-track improvements that are being proposed would not come to fruition because they're not obligated to do anything off-site.
And I should have testified to that in my direct. It wasn't in my notes because we just agreed to it tonight. But we looked at that, and it's about several hundred linear feet of sidewalk that this applicant agreed to install going south of the property, not on their frontage, that, in my experience, would not be granted by an applicant for a permitted use in the zone. There would just be no reason for them to do that.
Mr. Chair, if I could, sorry, just add, the town has been after DOT for some of these improvements for some time, and they're aware of these issues. I would love to think that they're going to go change these things tomorrow. All these conditions become part of the approval. If the board acts favorably, they would be made a condition to have to be implemented by the applicant prior to any CO. So, you know, it kind of puts these improvements under a timeline of when they're going to get done. Outside of that, we're at the will of DOT, and we can write as many letters and send as many emails, but, you know, the state is very big. There's a lot of state highways, and they've got other things on their mind, so that's something for you to weigh as part of the application as well.
Good point. Members of the board, any questions for planner?
Ms. Gaffone, in your presentation, have you compared the proposed site with any existing quick checks that are in the area?
In what way compared it?
Size.
I would say it's consistent with the size.
Okay, so the one up the street here on Route 9 in Howell, would you say it's similar in size, or
I'd say it's similar, yes.
the residential that lies behind the one here on Route 9, would you say that's closer to the building or further from the building?
The building on the other site that you're
Yes.
talking about? I don't know. I didn't look at that because I didn't think it was particularly, I didn't look at
It's
it.
important to note that that quick check was a permitted use before the planning board.
Just, so.
I'm just, there's
Understood.
a definite distinction. But, yes, and oh, by the way, that site was proposed initially, I just want the board to be aware that that site over here, right here on Salem Hill, was proposed in assisted living. The people had a stroke about assisted living, and so they got a 24-hour quick check. And that's how that went. Quick check, CVS, and another pad site, where an assisted living was proposed and they didn't want it. So, you know, there are consequences to continuing to object to things that are appropriately located. And I would suggest that, should the board not determine that this is appropriate, I just want everyone to be well aware the site is not going to sit undeveloped. Something's going to happen there, and when people complain, I just want to go back to the solar farm on Victory Road that we denied, and now we're in litigation over a warehouse that's fully conforming and permitted. So it's not always the grass is greener on the other side. You could get something far more impactful and have far less opportunity to deal with it.
Understood.
But that
I
quick check
understand
and
the
that whole
devil's in the
complex.
details at times. I guess the point I'm making my understanding of the quick check here on Route 9 in Howell, the setback to the residential, is much closer than on the property that's being proposed.
I agree.
When we look here, by my calculations, you are almost looking at half a football field difference
I agree.
between the building and the residential. So that creates a sizable difference in my opinion.
I only looked at the distance here, which is great. I like the football analysis, so I use that too. I came
Feel
up with
free.
about 184 feet from our building
Football
to,
fields are in yards, my darling.
I know, but it's 160 feet. I did the conversion.
So it's half.
Oh, was it?
That's why I said half a football field.
Okay. I should know that. My dad's an NFL official. He would be downright appalled by that.
And I think the one on New Prospect in Jackson also is built similarly. And again, that one has residential that is not much, but slightly closer than this one. So it looks like this quick check has at least picked a property that is created some separation between the residential and its building.
And I did the one in Freehold, and there's homes right on top of the property line there.
Okay.
Less.
Guys, you can't comment from the public until it's your turn to comment. It's not helping the record in any way, shape, or form. You will have an opportunity to talk, but yelling from the audience is not helpful. It doesn't help the record at all.
That's all I had, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the board?
Mr. Chair, before you go
Yeah.
to the public, I wanted to see if we got answers on the delivery restrictions, so we have a full picture. I'm not sure. if
Okay,
they-
and everyone will be around when the public has a
Oh,
question?
certainly,
Yeah.
yes.
Good.
I know. Just to answer the questions about the delivery hours, the suggestion was box trucks 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Is that something we can agree to?
So the one box truck that does not work in that time is the bread delivery. And that occurs overnight, around 3 a.m. through the front door of the site, not in the loading area in the back. And that's in not even a box truck at that point. That is a delivery vehicle, so I wanted to be clear with that.
So there wouldn't be any backup, the noise on the backup?
No, it would be in parked in a normal parking space in the front of the store, delivery through the front of the store.
Okay.
Other than that, all box trucks 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. is acceptable?
There would be a preference to have that go a little later, at least to 10, if not 11, but we're kind of at the mercy of the board.
So we'll defer to the board. Then what about the fueling trucks? No fueling between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. was the suggestion?
So on the fueling, obviously there's a desire to be able to do that on demand based on need. I would note that the fueling drop zone is all the way up against Route 9. And I think that separation from the residents does lend itself to an expanded
Okay, so
window,
I
if
think
not-
that they're looking for restrictions on the timing. So I can appreciate you wanting to make it as flexible as possible. They're not interested, so give us a time frame. Is it no
Yeah.
fueling between 10 PM and what?
7 a.m. was
Thank you.
what Charlie suggested, so I'm just,
Yeah.
Yeah, our suggestion would be midnight to 5.
I'm suggesting no.
Okay, that's fine. We have to ask.
and then the only other thing was trash. There was a 7 a.m. limitation in the residential zone, I believe?
We can comply with that.
So no earlier than
Yeah.
7 a.m. Okay. I think that covered those three types of activities.
Okay. Eileen will open up to, well, first we have to make a motion, so let's do that first. And I just want to make a couple comments before everybody comes up.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Mr. Chair, can I just
Yes.
request a health break for a minute so I can go to the restroom?
Sure.
Thank you.
We'll take a 5-minute break, and we'll be right back.
The board will now take a 5-minute break and reconvene at 9:30 PM.
Business.
The meeting will now reconvene.
Before we make the motion for public, Nick, you had a question for our planner?
Yeah, Ms. Beam, just to clarify this positive criteria statement, where it says, this requirement sets a high bar requiring findings that the general welfare is served because the use is particularly fitted to the proposed location. What is meant by the general welfare?
So that's
general
furthered
welfare?
by the goals of zoning that are identified in Chapter 2 of the MLUL. And so what was testified to was that criteria G, under 40:55D-2G, sufficient space at appropriate location, and then efficient use of land, which is M. That if they meet a goal of zoning under the MLUL, that satisfies that criteria.
So when you say general welfare, it's not general welfare of the public, it's general welfare of,
I mean, technically, it's the general welfare of people in general, but it has been determined by the court, respectfully, that is furthered if they can demonstrate a goal of zoning is advanced, which is why you hear me harp on that always over and over. What goal of zoning is being advanced? They put forth they put forth 3. I didn't agree with 1, but I did agree with 2. So by meeting those 2 goals of zoning under the MLUL, that criteria has been met pursuant to the case law.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's get back to motion to open to public. Who made it? No,
If it's not made, I'll make it.
we have to redo it.
Eileen,
since
didn't
we
they
went
do
to-
that?
Motion open public.
I think they started.
Second the motion to open.
All in favor?
Yes.
Eileen, before you make the statement for the public, just everybody out there tonight, I do want to hear your comments and your questions, but please, if somebody in front of you asks a question, it's been answered, give the person behind you a chance to speak that might have a different question. We just don't want to be hearing repetitious questions where we've gotten the answer already. So, of course, your comments are important to us, and we want to give you the time that you want, but please try to keep it as brief as you can so we can get everybody in, and hopefully we can make a decision tonight. Eileen?
The board will now be open to the public. If you'd like to speak or ask a question or a comment, please come up and state your name and your address. Thank you.
My name is John DiRenzo. My address is 2 Strickland Road, right next to the proposed site.
Sir, if you may,
Oh, I'm sorry.
do you swear or affirm the testimony that will be the truth and whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to, because it's been several months, or a few months since we were just here. Obviously, it's going to bring down the value of my property. The environmental concerns. Everybody see the sign out front? It's September. Childhood Cancer Awareness. We all know that there's childhood cancers from spills, from fumes of gasoline stations. Leukemia, especially. All right, I just want to lay that out there. Everybody understands that. The traffic, the noise, the pollution, it just, we're ready for a store, a restaurant. We're not ready for a 24-hour gas station, okay? I don't think anybody in this room wants fuel tanks right next to their house, or even close to their house. The safety of the pedestrians. Guys, I do not want to hold another hand of a dead person that got hit on Route 9 ever again. It's very traumatizing. There's multiple accidents, multiple issues at that corner. I didn't hear what the answer was. Where are the commuters going to get picked up when they get off the bus on Route 9 South?
They don't get picked up. They go to the crosswalk, they walk across the street to the...
No.
communal lot.
No, they are, a lot of them are picked up at PNC Bank right in front.
I mean, that's their own personal stuff. They get off the bus.
Yeah.
There's no obligation for anybody to provide these people for
But-
an area to get
okay,
picked
but
up. New Jersey Transit doesn't control that site.
Exactly.
If they're
But-
on
but
that-
it's gonna happen.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Okay, all right. It happens now.
Because there's no one on the site now.
It happened even when PNC Bank was there. It happened, yeah.
Agree. That I agree with. They don't, if there's a user on that site, people are not gonna have the ability to just pull in and pick people up. That's.
They did it when PNC was there, and they're still doing it. The pine trees for the buffer. I had given some pictures for this. These pine trees, I had asked Ray Lucas of PNC Bank to, when he approached me, and he approached me and asked me about the pine trees, I said, absolutely. I said, please plant them at least 10 feet apart, 10 feet off of my property. He planted them 6 feet off my property, and now I've got branches growing 20 feet into my property and breaking my fence. I've got pictures up here.
Pictures up on the screen.
I want a buffer. I wanted the pine trees, but they're too close. If they're gonna stay, they're gonna need to be trimmed back and trimmed back again regularly.
If the limbs are on your side of the
I understand that. There's a lot of pine trees. It's a lot of work.
I get it.
Okay. I'm gonna ask the board that these pine trees be removed, and a wall or fence, 8 feet, 10 feet. I do not want anybody coming into my property, I don't care. There's gotta be a fence. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna have it for my family. The light pollution here, I know we talked about that already. It's, the sign up front, okay. The retention pond, does it have to be on that side? It's so close to my house. It's gonna stink and mosquitoes. Is there an alternative area that we could put that retention pond in the basin?
Well, excuse me, if you do have a restaurant there, they're going to still need a detention
Right,
basin.
if there's a
So,
restaurant there, you could put a
I
retention
understand,
pond right
I don't
in the
like
front.
mosquitoes either.
You can't put a retention pond on the high side of the site. It has to be on the low side of the site so the water will run into it. So
Okay.
whatever's there, the basin's gonna be at the low point of the site, regardless of what the use is.
All right. The other pictures that I had, currently we have grass growing 2.5 feet high on the property, and weeds even higher. I talked to a gentleman, he said he's going to see if the township could get that taken care of, which I'd appreciate. Right now, it's an eyesore and it's a safety concern. But again, I'm going to ask the board, please don't approve this. 24 hours with a fueling station, but then put them in a convenience store or a restaurant or a fast food. I don't want a gas station next to my house. Neither does my family. Neither do the neighbors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Say your name.
Calderon?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I have, so many things have not been addressed here. First of all,
Can you just state your address as
oh,
well?
sure,
You
45.
talk to the
oh,
board. It's okay.
45 Mariners Cove, Freehold, New Jersey. On the Strickland Road, we are, as I mentioned on the first meeting, we are throughway. You have Jackson Mills, as you all know. Now, they're having trouble in Freehold. They put a light where we go to church. Nobody wants to go onto Route 9 because of the congestion. So we're a thoroughfare for Jackson Mills. Anybody who lives here, I live here 40 years, knows that. That's number one. Now, we're on, I know you're not concerned with Freehold, but we have Howell and Freehold. You have Silvermead, you have Heathermead, you have Deerbrook, you have Strickland Farms, you have Moore's Landing, you have all these developments. There's thousands of homes there. The congestion on that road is crazy. Besides the fact, every time either Freehold or Howell has some kind of detour on Route 9, we're the throughway. If you check with the police, I've said 10 times this year, we can't get out. There's always something going on to make a detour. And in question with the traffic, first of all, I think he gets a failing grade, and I'm sorry, I'm entitled to my opinion. But at the last meeting, as far as Strickland Road, because I know the DOT does not service them, he said it was an E or more. And he said, I noticed today they're all conforming to what you want to hear. Anybody can do that. And I'm asking that you don't approve it tonight and make sure, if you are going to, that all these conformities are true. I've called the DOT. I don't know if what he said is true, but I don't get the same answers. Now, he also said, and I'm quoting him, you can look at your minutes. Okay, what is it here? DF, the approach. You asked him the left turn. He said there's no proposed remedy for Strickland Road. but yet it's changed. Why is that? Second of all, what you don't have to understand is my grandchildren go and get the bus. Now, you know Howell schools, they start early. Why they do this is because to conform with, because we have Freehold Township goes into Howell, because the high school, it's like divided. So now she gets the bus, 6:30. She's out there 6:15, and she gets the bus at 6:30. That's, there's kids there at 7, all hours. Now, the buses don't just run in the morning. They run throughout the day. So if you look, his property, you can see Route 9 right here. That's that gentleman's property right there.
Can I
So
just
where they're
ask,
buil-
I'm sorry, was that
Oh.
submitted ahead of time?
No, can I submit these? I asked last time I was here, and they said just do it when I come up next time. She took them. Yeah. Pictures that she took
Yeah,
herself.
yeah, we can pass it around.
That's Route 9, that's his
Oh,
house.
Sal gets to look at them first.
Okay. Now, what I wanted to say also is, the buses, the bus where they live at Longbrook, all these other people, stops on Strickland and lets the children out. So when that happens, the buses back up to Route 9. So now if you have cars coming out, you're creating a problem. And as I know, me and my husband went around to lots of quick checks, and they are. There's houses behind them. But first of all, they're huge houses, and there's nothing else. There's no buses, there's no Route 9, there's no nothing. Well, I would like you to tell me, first of all, I would like you to tell me a quick check that has the buses that go.
Salem Hill.
Salem Hill. Yeah. I didn't look at that one. And they have the congestion that we have?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I beg to differ, and I'm sorry.
And this is going towards Ramtown, so yeah.
Okay, if I can put these in, I want to show you on a normal day what the congestion backs up.
Did you show Mr. Elf everything you?
I showed them, yeah.
Okay, so give him to, here, come
Yeah,
on.
pass them around.
I'm sorry, your last name?
Calderon. I live here for 40 years, and we're not saying we don't want a Chick-fil-A, maybe put 2, but you're proposing a gas station. Now, one of those pictures shows this man's yard. You know how close it is? It's not a football field, I'll tell you that. And one of those shows that when you make the turn, you have the circle there, you don't have enough room for 2 cars, so you have to go this way. In that picture, you will see. So what they do is people drive in the middle. Now, I know that's not your fault, but you are opening a can of worms by putting a convenience store and a gas station. And as she said, we're proposed to anything. No, we know the property has to be built on. We're not stupid. But anything else. And if it's a high-rise building, we'd even be acceptable to that. But what you're saying is, and the other lady said, there's 7 to 8 deliveries of the gasoline as needed. What if they're very busy? What times a day? Now, you know these trucks. There's no way they're going to, do you see that road right there in that picture? There's no way they're going to fit onto Strickland. You know, it's a shame. If you come any time of the day, I don't know if any of you have been to the property. It's a joke. And I understand you have regulations. Believe me, I've been before the planning board, and I know how that works. I don't know about zoning. But common sense tells you that this property is not acceptable for a quick check. I went to a lot of quick checks. I will visit that one on Salem Hill. But most of them, and then you reference the one at Wawa. You go in Wawa, you come out. There's no kids, there's nothing like us. If you go to that corner, now you all know it well. I mean, and besides the fact that when you made the 7-Eleven, that's been there for a long time. Can't say anything about that. Things are grandfathered in, that was there. But what you did was, you opened the back. There was never a driveway there before. So what happens is, people go through, come around, and come through Wyckoff. So now you have the traffic going through there, coming around, plus you have the off-way where the development's being built now. You have that where it says Wyckoff and Strickland. So you got people coming out of there, coming out of the villages, and coming around through the gate, going onto Strickland or Route 9. You are opening a can of worms, so I don't care what they say about, oh, this, you're meeting HC. I don't know about that. I could do planning board. But all I know is you will be creating problems for children. First of all, when we moved in Moore's Landing, what was it, 39 years ago? We were known as a development for commuters to walk. Most of our kids, there's kids that go to Georgia, all walk. Now, I don't know about Luke Oil. You go in, you go out. You don't have kids who walk. You don't have, if you go in the morning, you know how many people walking? And if it's dark, if it's light, people coming home, and something's going to happen. It's a bad sight now, but what you're proposing by letting them is going to cause deaths and cause it. Now, maybe you don't care about children, or maybe you don't care about us. Maybe you're just here for zoning. Oh, this is perfect, or on record, this is good. But let me tell you, I come from a long line of family lawyers, and you're opening yourself to liability. You know what the township is anyway, because it's on record that not only did that traffic person not claim his case, and the fact that they're saying they'll change this and this here and this, it's not done like that. So either you don't pass it tonight and they come back figuring out better ways for traffic and safety, because we matter. We do not need another gas station. Most of our people, where do you go get gas? I go to Raceway. Most people go around, or they go into 7-Eleven, come around, go right home. Most people know that. So there's no reason to put a gas station there. But we're not opposed to building. Put an office building there. Put anything. Put 2 Chick-fil-A's. We'd be okay with that. But now you're talking about trucks. And then you're talking about as needed. What if they need 10 trucks? I mean, you're talking, you can't fit in there. We can't even fit to go home. You're running into another car. Try driving it. Go home tonight. Go through there and drive it. So I don't care what she says. I don't care. It's a dangerous spot. And you all have to take that into consideration. And I don't care what she said. She didn't even know the size of a football field, for God's sake. I mean, my God.
All right.
But what I'm trying to say is, no, it's not all right. It's not. We matter. We matter. We pay taxes. And if you want to just say, go ahead, put it in, F your children, but that's to me what I'm hearing here. And I'm sorry. Do you want to speak? I'll speak for you. Do you have anything to say? What did you write?
Good evening.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
State your name, please.
I'm Kyle D'Elia. Kyle, I live at 33 Mainsail Square. I'm glad I ended up going after, I think it was Kathleen.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank
I
you.
do. I really appreciate everybody's time tonight. I know, like the gentleman said about moving it along and, you know, how this was,
They have to stay, pass this law. They have to stay with.
you know, how this was done in terms of, you know, notifying people and, you know, stay with the present, move it along, don't lose, you know, people's interest. But Kathleen was on it, you know. Number one, Christine talked about, you know, the zoning, and obviously something has to be there. It's an eyesore. You know, we feel for all the property owners. We know it's about the greater good, okay? Christine talked about, I think she named maybe 2 things, or it was a little debatable. Like Kathleen said, you put a quick check there, she nailed it, with the traffic that's on Strickland. Go there tomorrow with the busing in the morning, just the busing alone in the morning, okay? The Howell School District, we know how big the Howell School District is, and Jennifer, you know, pointed out there's a similar situation on Salem. But the middle school does start early. I'm not familiar with the freehold schools, but if this does happen, what Kathleen was talking about, the edge of Strickland and Jackson Mills, that's a mess there too. You would need a traffic light there. But anyway, go there with the busing in the morning and see, you know, how many schools. It feeds every elementary school in Howell. And as far as I know, I'm not up on even, you know, like the force, you know, petitioning for it. you can't widen Strickland. I mean, Strickland, you can't widen Strickland Road. And obviously, I'm concerned, I live in Moore's Landing, but you're coming in and out of Moore's Landing. You have a whole development there of just Moore's Landing, the kids and the busing. And Kathleen pointed out, there's about 6, 8, 10 condos, okay? It's irrelevant, in terms of where we moved in, why we moved in, what we can afford, $500,000, $750,000, it's a mess with the traffic. And Charlie made good points. Jennifer talked about the grass is not always greener in terms of what sidewalk improvements will be done. The fatalities that just happened there, alone. So, nothing's perfect, but I can't think of anything worse that you could put there, as has been stated now pretty clear a couple times with, the quick check with the gas station factor and the large convenience store. There's just really no room. And obviously everybody, development has been done, et cetera, et cetera. People have thought the same thing, but just come and look. Come and look in the morning and the afternoon, and then I'll wrap this up. I appreciate the time and not, pushing me off. Jennifer said, the commuters, you can't control the citizens, you can't control Howell, you can't control beyond the region, okay? The commuters at 3, 4, 5, they get off, they just walk across Route 9. They just walk across, I'm not putting, and the same thing in the morning, okay? Charlie pointed out, maybe this helps the sidewalks, maybe, but that is a dangerous, we're not exaggerating, that is a mess. So you factor in, you can't widen Strickland, the busing, how big is Howell District? All the schools are at different times, morning and night. The traffic, okay, and right, all the studies, the zoning has been done. The traffic, the commuters, it really is a mess. So again, I'm Kyle. Thank you for hearing me. Something has to go there. I realize it's an eyesore. I feel for John and his property, all the homeowners, but it is really a dangerous, dangerous mess, and you really have to scratch your head and think about, what you're asking for, or, and Jennifer said it's not always greener. I just don't, I just don't want to see it, obviously, and thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hi, my name
Good
is Debbie Minucci. I live at 12 Ravenwood Court.
Hi, do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes. So, I'm kind of new to this whole thing. I have been living I came from New York 18 years ago to live down here, nice suburbs, which are not suburbs anymore. But my biggest concern coming off of Strickland, and I work for a hospital, and I go to work at 6:15 every morning, and I can tell you, I sit at that Strickland light at 6:15 5 times before I can make the turn. Now, that's even before you do anything. No matter what time of day you come, and especially poor people that have to make that U-turn, they can't even make the U-turn to get to Route 9 North. You can't even get across there. I'm more worried about that. I'm more worried about the people getting hit. My stepson is 18 years old, and he must have almost gotten hit 5 or 6 times just walking up the road. It's just ridiculous to think about putting something there that's 24 hours at a gas station. And yes, things have to be built. Half of Route 9 South is empty, where Kentucky Fried Chicken was empty. Casino Drive's got a big spot for sale. Why can't it go someplace where you just go in and out of Route 9 instead of coming down a side street that's a major side street? 7-Eleven doesn't have it, and I do know every Quick Check, and they don't have the traffic we have. New Prospect, all of them, they don't have buses stopping right in the middle of the road. It's just ridiculous. And as far as the trees, I agree. Anytime I have built a sound barriers have always been walls. They've always been concrete walls. They've always been large fences. They haven't just been trees to muffle it. But, that's my opinion is more the traffic and people getting hurt coming off of Strickland. If you never driven down it, it's really crazy. And the way it has changed in the 18 years I have lived there has been worse. I used to be able to get to work in 15 minutes. Now I have to counter in an extra 45 minutes just to get to Route 33 because of traffic and buses and school buses. Thank you.
Thank you.
My husband wrote down that he had
Well, do you want to sit right here? Rich, I think
Yeah.
there's a,
say, if you've spoken already, that's it. Not
Yeah.
but I'm talking about you.
I just have one question about the staging.
Nope, you gotta go back.
You gotta raise your hand, talk loud.
there's a mic, right? Is this working, Eileen? You could sit down, there's a mic right at this desk, if that's easier for you. Okay.
But you gotta tell them your name at least.
You could just talk into the mic, it's fine. Just
But
speak
he
into the
has
mic.
to swear in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, close.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, just state your name.
My name is Stilgil Calderon, 45 Mariners Cove. Can my wife speak?
Okay, I can't read all of your hand, I can't read his handwriting. I think he just wanted to mention, is this sorry, the wetlands, right? He had a question about the wetlands, which runs behind Longbrook, which is right there, there's a sign right there, which is the Manasquan watershed, which goes into our reservoirs. Now, I know at last meetings, they said it's only a couple hundred feet or whatever, but when he looked online, he said it's anywhere, it could be from 700 feet.
No.
It's not 700 feet. That was his question, because it's
300
right
feet
there.
is requiring you're more than 300 feet away, so this is not, they will not have. an
Even for the
issue.
watershed?
Nope.
Correct. Okay. What was your other thing he had? Oh, I can't read, I'm sorry, I can't read his handwriting. It's just about the buses, how they stop right there where they're proposing their entranceway or exitway. The buses stop there for the children. And that's all I can read. Sorry, I can't
Okay.
read his handwriting, so maybe when he's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Better.
Okay, before anybody else comes up, I just want to get who else wants to speak tonight? Okay. Because we do have a cutoff at 10. I mean, if you're the last speaker, then that's good. We'll hopefully get everything resolved tonight. Go ahead.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Vijay Casey, yes.
State your name for the record.
Vijay Casey,
Can you
14,
just talk in the mic and talk to the board?
Vijay Casey, 14 Fieldcrest Way, Freehold, New Jersey. Block 141 and lot 141 and block 38.
Okay.
138. Yeah, so, good evening. The reason of my call, everyone is talking about traffic, that's very important, but no one is talking about the environmental impact. So the impact statement has I read it through. It says no much impacts to the hydrology or soil quality and the air quality. But with this gas station as well as the convenience store where we have the food and all this, so this will be impacting us. And I'm behind this is Tom's house. So it's, I can show it like 14 Fieldcrest Way. I could see from my backyard, from my bedroom, all this building, the PNC Bank, old time. Now it will be, so it will have a light. We could not sleep in the night because it will be very big light. It will be disturbing our silence and impacting our peace as well as environmental, the gas spill, it will have a soil impact, hydrology.
You're assuming that there's going to be a gas spill?
Sorry?
You're assuming there's going to be a gas spill?
Means if you have underground,
I get it, but do you understand how gas stations are constructed today?
no, I know hydrology will be there, so you
No,
have
the tanks are put in a double-walled container system in a vault. That's different from years ago. So, like, you can't, any use could potentially have an issue in terms of something like that. You can't just say, board, don't approve this because maybe at some point in the future, the gas tank will leak into the ground when there's been no testimony to support that one way or the other. So focus on the impact to you, but respectfully, but at the end of the day, without having, like, I can tell you that there are so much technology in terms of the installation of a gas station in today's day and age that the likelihood of a spill, you're more likely to get some kind of other kind of issue than that. So focus on the noise, the light, those things, but assuming that there's going to be a tank spill,
So when you fill the gas, so drops goes down, some drops. And then.
I'm just going to say one more time, you can't comment from the audience. Respectfully, you're tainting the record. You cannot speak unless it's your turn to speak. You're not helping the record. So let's say the board does something that you want to challenge, the yelling from the audience does not help. So,
Yeah, and I want to hear which,
correct.
When you fill the gas, some drops goes, and it will impact, when it rains, it goes to the water.
Okay, you could just, continue talking to the board, not to us.
Yeah, so when gas filling, it drops goes out. So when you have a rain and, so it's storm water, so it will go to the soil, it will impact the environment. So that's the thing I'm just talking about, not the spill. So that will be impacting the soil as well as the storm water. And this arm behind, so it will be impacting our environment also. Smell comes from the gas. So it will be impacting our living environment. So that's the main concern for me. And because I am behind this, it's from my backyard. So I just want this to be like considered environmental impact, because the impact says standard no comment. So we have to go through the environmental study. Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else?
Make a motion to close the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm sorry, did you finish
No,
that?
yeah.
I talked to my client, with the board's consent, we would like to put off the vote, to give us one more go-around with the DOT, just to demonstrate we've exhausted all the options we could to deal with the Strickland traffic, and then come back and either update our traffic and/or ask for a vote, depending upon how that goes. It's up to the board, unless you think it won't be helpful either way.
I do kind of concur with you, because I think the DOT is important. Charlie had mentioned that a lot of this use will not even take place if they do not agree to it. But I do want to check with the other members how they feel about this.
Yeah, I would like some more conclusion on the trip.
That's fair.
How long do you think that will take?
Yeah, so, yeah.
When's the next opening?
No,
Yeah, I want to know when the next meeting is,
Oh,
and then
okay.
we can see if that's out.
I would have October 27th, November 10th, November 24th.
Let me just. So October 27th or November 10th? Which one? That's enough time? October 27th, they said would be enough to have one more meeting.
and you'll get an answer from them, from the DOT?
We're hoping to have an answer, yes. We're going to update you as to, I think at that point, we will have exhausted all of our discussions with DEP. We'll tell you what the final answer is going to be, pretty much.
Sal, this question, I think, is important enough for me to ask. If you could also check with the applicant, are there other suitable sites that has he looked at?
Okay.
Because I just want to make sure that he's looked at other sites, because I like the in and out a lot better than this. But I think that's important for us to know.
I don't know the answer, but
Yeah.
we'll provide one.
Okay, thanks.
And Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Fiore, I don't know how this works, but do you speak to DOT in regards to, would they be accepting of a traffic, a turn signal? Is that something has ever been brought up in conversation with them? Where Strickland, both sides of Strickland going, so Route 9 north or
You mean a
Route
left
9
turn
south?
out of
Yeah,
Strickland?
having a traffic signal, turn signal. No, it's not.
No, it's a straight light.
It's Strickland.
It's a straight
It's
light.
not.
It's got a turn lane, but it's a straight light.
It's a turn lane, but a straight light.
We can, I don't know the answer, but we'll find out and get you a response.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's just the left heading north, left heading north.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Coming off Strickland to make the left-hand turn onto Route 9. And vice versa, coming from the other side.
Okay.
There's only 2 lanes.
Yeah,
But it's one light.
no, we're getting the,
There's no turn signal.
yeah.
So, your question, Mr. Borelli, your
Yeah, go
question
ahead, Charlie.
is, sorry,
Yeah. Go on.
Guys.
Yeah.
your question is, there's a left turn lane, but there's no dedicated left turn signal on the actual beacon. That's something I think, Sal, you guys can investigate.
find out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We sat at that light when we did the site survey.
Okay, so what I'm looking at right now, we're going to go to November 10th,
October 27th.
October 27th. Okay.
Sal, I'll just need an extension of time from you as well.
And I'll send a letter tomorrow. And Andy, you're going to make the announcement? Somebody make the announcement that carried without?
The chairman usually does that.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rich always does it.
Just so we're clear,
Yeah.
what are all the points we're going to follow up on with DOT? Just so
We're going to
we know what answers to expect,
We're going to
questions.
look at the Strickland, primarily the Strickland traffic, either the timing and/or that left-hand turn signal.
Okay.
We may not have any new information. I'm just saying we're going to.
No, I understand.
We're
Just
just trying to
wanna-
exhaust what,
But you could
whatever
say,
we can.
we went to this and they never
Yes.
gave us an answer, yea or nay.
Yes, and then the chairman asked about other sites that he's looked at. Those
Yeah.
are really the question. But one of the issue was like the Strickland timing degraded some from the first testimony. We're going
Yes.
to look at that again.
Eileen, where on the agenda can we put this? Because, I mean, we're basically at the point where we just get these answers, and I think we can vote.
October 27th.
Okay. Yeah, but
No, what
on the,
else is on it?
I mean, what spot?
I have one bulk variance.
Okay.
That night.
So that's going to be
That's good.
quick, okay. Good. Yeah, we'll work that out. Okay, so right now, we're looking at this will be carried till October 27th with no further notice, and we will get an expiration time of,
End of October, is that?
okay, October 31st. So is there any question from the audience as far as, we will be here on the 27th? You can come back, but there will be no more questions or comments unless it's new testimony that's put on the record, okay? And we did appreciate you coming up tonight, and we did listen to what you had to say, and we are, we're not just making a quick decision on this, so just let you know. So, is there any other further business of the board? Okay.
Thank you.
So Eileen, when's our next meeting?
October 20th.
20th, and then we have the 27th.
Yes, they're back to
Okay,
back
okay, back to back.
due
Okay.
to the holidays.
Yeah, that's, okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Yep.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Like a mustache.